Welcome to the fantasy audiobook. Simultaneous time travel. Starting from the inherently evil Uchiha. Chapter 41. Zhu Luo, what are you doing? Seeing Zhu Luo motionless in midair, Ji Luo turned his head and wanted to go to support, but the next second he was stopped by Queasy holding a long sword. Your opponent is me. Although she was a little surprised, she also knew that this might be Bai Yi's method. Otherwise, it would be impossible for Zhu Luo to remain dull in place. And from Queasy's point of view, she actually saw that Zhu Luo's eyes had the same pattern as Bai Yi's pupils. Is it another ability she doesn't know about? Brontosaurus. Quote. Part of his physical strength was instantly withdrawn, and the giant dragon formed by thunder and lightning instantly swallowed the beast. This is not the world of One Piece. There are very few people who can eat a 60 million volt and become immortal. Moreover, the person who eats the immortal is Wong Luffy. Even in the battle at the top, Akainu killed Ace with one punch. After all, the people in that world are indeed strong, but they are not able to withstand it completely, unless they use their domineering force. 60 million volts, enough to kill a monster. The Thunder Dragon did not stop after devouring Zhu Luo. Under Bai Yi's control, it flew towards Gang Luo, the biggest target here. Be careful, Gangra, Ji Luo shouted, but as soon as he finished speaking, Thunder Dragon had already collided with Gang Luo. Boom! The Thunder Dragon exploded, and Gang Luo's demon blood spilled all over the ground from his forehead. This Thunder Dragon can't kill me at all. Now I want to avenge my brother. A trace of hatred flashed in Gang Luo's eyes. He resisted, but his brother Zhou Luo exploded and even his body disappeared. The first one blocked it, so what about the second one? The second Thunder Dragon formed instantly, and then flew directly towards Gang Luo's original blasted wound. Looking at the Thunder Dragon flying over, Gang Luo subconsciously wanted to hide in his turtle shell, but the Thunder Dragon did not give Gang Luo a chance and swallowed Gang Luo in an instant. Compared to the first blue Brontosaurus, the second Brontosaurus shining with purple-black lightning is obviously more destructive. Help me! As soon as Gang Luo finished speaking, there was an explosion, and his body was blown into dozens of pieces and scattered on the ground. I forgot that I was going to make a demon sword. Bai Yi scratched his hair in distress. Why the hell did he forget this matter? But fortunately, although the beast Luo could not be found at all, Gang Luo still had some stumps, plus Long Luo and Ji Luo. Bai Yi felt that it was enough. Listen, is this human language? There was no hesitation in what Bai Yi said. Naturally, Long Luo and Ji Luo also heard it. Did they join forces to kill them just to refine the demon sword? Why do you feel like this idiot is more annoying than Inu Admiral? Family members, who knows? Well, can you please just stand there and let me give you a complete way to die? You know, this is the first time I have made the demon sword. If it is all corpse parts, I don't know if it will affect the demon sword. The power of it. After Bai Yi scratched his hair for a while, he suddenly thought of something. He raised his head and looked at Long Luo and Ji Luo, his eyes full of expectation. Wouldn't it be great if they could just stand there and let themselves choose a decent way to die for them? They died dignifiedly, they got a complete body, and everyone has a bright future. Idiot, what are you talking about in your sleep? Come quickly and help that Miko to deal with Ji Luo, and then the three of us will deal with Long Luo together. Queasy took a deep breath and looked at Bai Yi like this. She felt numb. How could she stand there and let you kill her? It is better to think about something practical. When the three of them besiege Long Luo together, the problem of Penglai Island will be completely solved. I know you, woman, don't order me around. This woman seems to be getting more and more fluent in her commands. Her behavior must be corrected. A strange combination of a monster and a Miko. Are they in love? Tsuyuki was a little surprised by the way Byakuya and Queasy got along. Could it be that a shrine maiden could also fall in love with a monster? Although she has always protected the monsters and half-demon on Penglai Island, she has always believed that there is no possibility of love between the two parties. But she didn't continue to think about it. Instead, she turned her head and thanked Bai Yi solemnly. Thank you for your help. If it weren't for the arrival of Queasy and Bai Yi, perhaps Penglai Island would really be doomed. The opponent defeated two monsters as soon as he appeared. It was unheard of for a first-class monster to defeat two big monsters, but he did it right before his eyes. You're welcome. You are such a good person. Monster. What the hell? A black line flashed in Bai Yi's eyes. You might as well not correct the latter one. Forget the verbal thanks, remember you owe me a favor. All right. Zoji took back what she just said. Although she said that, Bai Yi always had a mean feeling when she said these words. I see. She didn't think much about it. Regardless of whether the other party did it intentionally or not, she did owe Bai Yi a big favor this time. She will indeed need to pay her back in the future. As long as Bai Yi is useful to her place, she will help Bai Yi. But with Bai Yi's strength, there shouldn't be anything she needs to help with, right? He is stronger than me, and as a monster, he doesn't need to worry about his lifespan, so he won't want to stay in Penglai Island unless it's for that treasure. If I have to say one thing Bai Yi can't do, maybe it's that he can't have children, and I have one more ability to have children than him, right? Then I'll leave it to you. My spiritual power is not enough to fight now, so I can only cooperate with you. Just before Bai Yi and others came, Zoji had fought with the 4 fighting gods for a while, and her spiritual power was almost exhausted. If Bai Yi and others hadn't come, she would have wanted to die with the 4 fighting gods. I'm exhausted, and the 4 fighting gods are obviously in good condition. Bai Yi turned his head and looked at Ji Luo. Ji Luo's combat power is second only to Long Luo, far higher than Beast Luo and Gang Luo. However, facing the attacks of Zoji and Bai Yi, his situation is extremely bad. On the one hand, he dare not look at those eyes, because before, it was Beast Luo who looked at those eyes, and then he was affected and stood still and couldn't move. Secondly, the opponent's ability to trigger lightning to fight made Ji Luo, who had already lost his ability to observe, even more miserable. He applied for a duel. Get out of the way. Zuji drew her bow and shot an arrow, which was accompanied by the magic-breaking arrow with all of Zuji's spiritual power at the moment. Ji Luo wanted to dodge the cold light behind him. He knew that if he couldn't dodge, he would most likely die. However, the moment he raised his head, he happened to meet Bai Yi's sharply mocking mouth and eyes. Although it was only a moment, he felt that his body could not move in an instant. The magic-breaking sword pierced Ji Luo's heart, and then a huge hole appeared. Ji Luo's eyes were scattered and he fell to the ground from the air in an instant. After the death of 3 brothers in a row, Long Luo felt that he was going crazy at the moment. What made him even more unacceptable was that he had to face Qizi, Bai Yi and Zuji's 2 people in one demon siege. Even if Zuji's spiritual power was not much or even gone, but she recovered next to him, he would also die. This time he must lose. After thinking this through, he looked at the 3 people present with hatred in his eyes, memorized their appearances in his mind, and secretly swore in his heart that he would come back for revenge in the future. Run. As a big monster, you can't beat them, so you run. No wonder you can't beat the old dang of the dog general. I will never tolerate cowardice. You. Long Luo looked at Bai Yi angrily. He did want to run, but after being provoked by Bai Yi, he didn't want to run anymore. He admitted that he couldn't beat the dog general, but he would never say that he was cowardly. Thinking of this, he set his eyes on the bodies of Ji Luo and Zhu Luo. If he merged the 2 of them, he would definitely become stronger. Noticing Long Luo's eyes, Bai Yi pointed to the bodies on the ground and said, "You merge them, let me see how strong you are." "Are you sure?" Long Luo was stunned for a moment. He didn't expect Bai Yi to let him merge. "Of course, since you don't choose to run, I will give you a chance. Don't say I'm bullying you. Okay, you're a brave boy." Long Luo looked at Bai Yi with a little more appreciation. Although he was an enemy, he was really impressed by his courage. He flew directly to the bodies of Shang Luo and Gang Luo. Looking at his movements, Bai Yi quickly approached Qizi and whispered, "Hurry up, use your spiritual power to hit him." "Ah, hit the TM, what are you doing, are you a fool? Give the enemy a chance to become stronger." Oh, shameless. She had never seen such a shameless person. Qizi found that Bai Yi's mouth could not be trusted at all. What does it mean to make you stronger, and then let you sneak attack? Relying on deception and sneak attack, young people don't have martial ethics. But Qizi's hands were not idle either. This sense of betrayal that broke the bottom line of the battle gave Qizi a strange joy. The spiritual power gathered on Qizi's long sword, and then the sword energy formed by the spiritual power flew towards Long Luo. Feeling the danger, Long Luo, who was about to absorb the corpse happily, turned his head to look at the spiritual power sword energy flying over, and his defense was broken instantly. You fool, you are lying. You are the idiot, right? Can you run or not? Stay here and wait for death. You are mentally ill, you can't win but you don't run and wait here, who else can I lie to? Listening to Bai Yi's slightly complacent tone, Zouji looked strange and regretted that she owed Bai Yi a big favor. Will he use this great favor to ask herself to do something strange in the future? Will it be broken? Long Luo was careful and never let down his guard just now, but even so, his left arm was cut off by Queezy's spiritual power and fell to the ground. After losing his left arm, he could no longer use his Windblade Fang, and his combat power was greatly reduced. He looked at Bai Yi with a gloomy look, and now he just wanted to leave quickly. It's too late. Die, God's judgment. Above the sky, countless lightning struck Long Luo, and Queezy was not idle here either. Long Luo, who was covered with scars, also understood that he would die today. Before he died, he cursed Bai Yi, this despicable and shameless villain, to die a bad death in his heart. With a plop, Long Luo's body fell directly, and then Bai Yi fired 10 more God's judgments before stopping. Ouch, what are you doing? Bai Yi turned his head and looked at Queezy. The woman had a strange look in her eyes. Do you have a special hobby? Why do you chop him even though he's dead? Isn't it because I'm afraid he's not dead yet? What if he sneaks up on me? This monster is really too cautious. Queezy complained in her heart. Ding. Change the fate of the 4 fighting gods and get a chance to draw a lottery. Ding. Change the fate of Zouji and get a chance to draw a lottery. 2 chances to draw a lottery. Bai Yi smiled, and then thought about the lottery in his heart. Ding. Congratulations to the host for obtaining Bao Xiongui Constitution Switchable Active Ability Passive Voucher Remove Side Effects Version Universal. Bao Xiongui Constitution. The host can turn the body into diamond, and the host can choose to turn it on or off. Active Ability Passive Voucher. The active ability can be turned into a passive permanent blessing, while removing side effects. It is universal in the world, and this voucher will expire after 1 day. Monster Bai Yi. Brothers, what is this active ability passive voucher? Daily Byakuya. Make the active ability passive. By the way, if the Mangekyo is turned into a passive one, it can be maintained forever, and there will be no side effects. Can't it be used all the time? Hokage Byakuya. If you want to die, I can help you. Consuming physical strength is not a side effect. Do you have so much physical strength to consume? But the side effects of the Mangekyo are not a big problem. Anyway, I will have the sage body and the eternal eye later. Zombie Byakuya. My Taoism becomes passive. It doesn't feel any different. I still need to practice. This coupon will be gone in 1 day. How about turning the thunder fruit into a passive one? Pirate Byakuya. It's useless. What's so good about the thunder fruit that it can be turned into a passive one? Turning the 8 gates into a passive one can permanently improve our strength, and we can also use Night Kai without injury. Who else can I give this to? Hokage Byakuya. If you didn't tell me, I would have forgotten that I had this. Yokai Byakuya. What about the 8 gates? It seems possible from this point of view. The first gate can exert 100% of the physical ability and provide attack and speed. The second gate removes the limit of physical fatigue. The third gate further improves attack and speed, and the fourth gate further improves attack and speed, but there will be physical damage, but there are no side effects. Each subsequent gate will be greatly improved. After the death gate, there is dozens of times the power of the 5 shadows. After this death gate becomes passive in the later stage, it is a permanent improvement. In the future, every Bai Yi who joins the chat group will receive a permanent benefit improvement from the 8 gates. Confirmed to be used in the 8 gates. Daily World. Bai Yi feels that his body seems to be undergoing changes. His originally thin body suddenly became strong. At this moment, he feels that he has endless strength in his body, and the dizzy power that made him dizzy after using the Mangekyo once is gone in an instant. Daily Bai Yi. There has never been such a wonderful start. Please cheer for me. Please cheer for me. Yokai Byakuya. The improvement seems not as big as I imagined, maybe because it is the first gate. After becoming passive, this ability is probably a permanent blessing. In this world, my demon power has also increased a lot, but not as much as I imagined. Daily Byakuya. It must have been a huge improvement for me in the early stage. I was able to easily punch through the iron plate with one punch just now, and I am no longer afraid of being killed by the citizens of Beihua. Do you know how he has been living these years? Beihua big stage, you come if you have a life. I thought it was just an everyday world, but I ended up with such a thing. Zombie Byakuya. To be honest, this is indeed a big improvement for me. I didn't major in physical training, but now my physical fitness has improved a lot. I feel that punching the zombie king and kicking the fierce ghost is just around the corner. The first gate of the 8 gates of Dunjia can allow people to exert 100% of their strength. In fact, everyone has their own limits, just like the old lady who suddenly burst out with powerful force to lift up the car when her grandson was crushed by a car. This may be like an alternative gene lock, but it is not comparable to the later stage of the gene lock. Monster Bai Yi. How long does it take to reach the later stage? Wait, why do I feel that the progress of the 8 gates of Dunjia is accumulating? Pirate Bai Yi. I am practicing, and I found that the 8 gates of Dunjia can be improved very quickly when we practice together, so if we want to improve quickly, we need to practice together and strive to open 7 gates in a year. Daily Bai Yi. Oh my. So fierce. But this is also possible. Thinking about it this way, if the progress is cumulative, everyone will get feedback when practicing, so if everyone practices together, they can improve very quickly. Pirate Bai Yi. I will practice more. I feel that the 8 gates of Dunjia is practiced faster in this world. Hokage Bai Yi. Okay, I will practice too, and strive to improve you. Practice it when you have time. Since the progress is cumulative, and not everyone has to practice to become passive, then everyone can practice together and quickly improve the 8 gates of Dunjia, and strive to open 7 gates this year, and open all 8 gates the year after next. Unfortunately, if the White Knight of the Dragon Ball world joins, I am afraid that it will be completed soon. Daily White Knight. I seem to have discovered that if this kind of universal ability ticket appears in the future, it can also allow those active and passive enhancements to be directly blessed to everyone. Like the 8 gates of Dunjia, it can directly make an ordinary person like you have powerful strength, and there are no side effects. This also gave him a clearer understanding and greater grasp of some of the things he will do later. Having a gun and not using it are two concepts. Monster White Knight. That's right, I have a lot of time recently, so practice as soon as possible. The injury-free version of the 8 gates of Dunjia is a real way to improve the body's ability. It is universal in every world, and this time he got the physique of Bao Xiangui and can control diamonds at will. Then there is no need to find Bao Xiangui for diamonds, he can get them himself. Peng Lai Island. He collected the bodies of Ji Luo, Yang Luo and Long Luo, and then took Long Luo's Wind Blade Fang and Thunder Blade Fang away. Now, he felt that the materials he had prepared were almost ready. Let's go. Bai Yi turned his head and looked at Kui Zi. Now that the matter of Peng Lai Island was over, it was almost time to leave. As for the problem of the barrier, there was no need to worry. Since Zhou Ji was still alive, she could open the barrier of Peng Lai Island. Let's leave. Kui Zi looked at Bai Yi in surprise. Just when Bai Yi was analyzing it with himself in the chat group, Kui Zi had already established friendship with Zhou Ji. The way women establish friendship is very strange. Maybe because of a sentence, the two of them become friends. For Kui Zi and Zhou Ji, the two of them lacked real friends who could confide in each other and were equal. Both of them wanted to get close to each other and become friends, so they hit it off. Or do you want to stay here as a guest? Bai Yi still had to forge a sword, and after forging the sword, he would go to the battlefield. It is very likely that the Inu general was injured in the war with the Leopard Cat clan, and then he went to fight with the Dragon Bone Spirit without stopping and was seriously injured, and then he went to fight with the Setsuna Mengwan who got the Kongyanya. It can be said that this old man would not die in any battle alone, but the three of them happened to rush together. If possible, please have a meal here before leaving. Zhu Ji looked at Bai Yi solemnly. If it were not for him, Peng Lai Island would have become a hell on earth. So in order to express her gratitude, Zhu Ji hoped that Bai Yi could stay here for a meal before leaving. How about we have a meal before leaving? Kui Zi looked at Bai Yi eagerly. With this expression, are you acting like a spoiled child? Bai Yi stroked his forehead. He always felt that it was really unreal for Kui Zi, a straightforward girl, to have such a thing happen to her. Well, have you ever thought that the monsters and half-demons you protect are actually more eager for the outside world? From the original work, Soji's starting point was good, but this false peace was actually disrupted by the appearance of the four fighting gods, and she discovered the cruelty of reality. Half-demons and monsters may not necessarily be unable to adapt to the outside world, but they have been protected on Penglai Island. If they are invaded one day, they may not even have a chance to resist. Zuji looked at Bai Yi in confusion, not knowing why he said that. Is her protection not good? But they will not be in danger here, why do they need to go to the outside world? I'm just saying that if there are people who are willing to go outside, they can leave. Not everyone needs protection. Bai Yi was not so extreme as to let Zuji release all of them directly. This will only make most of them die outside. But if there are people who want to leave and see the outside world, they can actually leave here. Forget it, this is your business on Penglai Island. It's not bad to live here. Perhaps, this is another kind of infinite moon reading. In fact, it's not bad. There is no worry here. Perhaps after the four fighting gods are gone, Penglai Island will indeed not be invaded by other monsters. But if they go out, most of them will die, right? Zuji asked. What she has always been worried about is that these half-demons can't get along with humans and are rejected by monsters. That's why she has been protecting the half-demons on Penglai Island. They will die, so Penglai Island may be good or bad for them. Why are half-demons not accepted by humans and rejected by monsters? Those children have no place to live. Zuji turned her head and looked at Bai Yi. Queasy on the side also subconsciously looked at Bai Yi, and she didn't know what she was thinking in her heart. Because of bloodline, half-demons and half-human bloodline, in the demon world, follow the pure bloodline, and humans themselves have hatred for monsters, so half-demons will naturally be rejected, so the birth of half-demons is tragic, but if their parents can protect their children, there will be no such problem. In fact, in Bai Yi's view, the birth of half-demons is a tragedy. If an ordinary monster falls in love with an ordinary human and gives birth to a child, then he can't protect himself or the child. But if the parents or any other party has strong power, it is also very simple to protect their children. For example, if Inu no Taisho had not died, Inuyasha's fate would not be so tragic. And Inuyasha was not very tragic when he grew up. He was recognized by Sesshomaru in the early stage. However, because Sesshomaru was killing enemies on the front line, Inuyasha was in love with humans in the back and was sealed by the Miko, which made Sesshomaru very disappointed. So if it was you, what would you do? Respect the fate of others and let go of the plot of helping others. You can't save them. This is a tragedy created by the times. Although Bai Yi's words were cruel, they were also very realistic. This is the tragedy created by the times, because humans and monsters can't be together, but love is a very mysterious thing. Of course, if you think you can always protect them, then protect your utopia here. Indeed, the longer you live, the more you can see the darkness of this world, but is there no other way? Queasy sighed. She killed too many monsters and saw too many evil hearts. This era seems to be really sick. Yes, unless there is a power to purify the world, which can suppress the entire era and make rules. Just like the Senju Hashirama and Uchiha Madara, Naruto and Sasuke, and the Six Paths Sage era in the Naruto world. Why did everyone love peace in that era? Because if you don't love peace, someone will make you love peace. Therefore, if you want peace, there must be someone who can suppress the entire era and force monsters and humans to follow their own rules together. Turning his head to look at the Miko who looked similar to Kikyo, Bai Yi shook his head. This is impossible. Even a strong man like Inu Taisho was killed, and she is even more impossible. So Bai Yasha, let's fight for this era together. Hey, why are you dragging me along? Looking at Queasy's energetic look, Bai Yi immediately felt something was wrong. I just provided some ideas, and I didn't want to change the era with you. So don't you think it's cool to change an era? Suko was full of energy. It was obvious that she had found her goal again from the blueprint that Bai Yi had just spoken. At first, Suko only wanted to kill those evil monsters and make the world more peaceful, but after listening to Bai Yi's words, Suko suddenly realized that she seemed to have set a bigger goal. She wanted to create an era where humans, monsters and half-demons could live in peace. If such a world can be created, it seems to be really good. Thank you for clearing my doubts again. Hey, what did he say? Seeing Zuji's grateful eyes, Bai Yi stroked his forehead and felt as if he had refreshed the worldview of the two witches. So that's not what he wanted to say just now. Why don't I let myself in the Naruto world get the infinite Tsukuyomi and give them all an infinite Tsukuyomi? Bai Yi, say something. Ahem, I think it's not impossible to change the rules of the world, but it's too early for us. After all, there are still many difficulties that have not been solved. It's okay. Even if we don't solve it in the future, if we have a child in the future, we can teach him and let him inherit our will. Child, has this woman already set her sights on the child? Is it like you are a fool moving mountains? Looking at Bai Yi's surprised eyes, Queasy muttered in her heart. She had hinted very clearly, why didn't this guy seem to understand? Let's talk about it later. I'm going to make a demon sword after dinner. Demon sword, demon sword. Go with your demon sword in the future. Queasy complained in her heart, it seems that she didn't listen to what she said before. During the meal, Queasy was unhappy, Zoji was thoughtful, and Bai Yi was thinking about what new abilities his demon sword would have next. Let's go there quickly. If Yunmu doesn't have the strength later, I will carry you there. No need, I can go there by myself, and if you can't wait, you can go there first. What's going on? This woman is so irritable all of a sudden. Bai Yi muttered in his heart, thought about it, but couldn't figure it out, so he nodded and agreed with Queasy's words. Okay, let's see when the time comes. After Bai Yi said this, Zoji covered her mouth and couldn't help laughing. Stupid monster, can't you see what a girl is thinking? After saying goodbye to Zoji, Queasy was like a mute person all the way, and didn't say much. After finally flying to Dao Daosai's residence, Bai Yi finally felt relieved. Da Daosai, I brought you all the materials. The bodies of Long Luo, Ji Luo and Gang Luo, the Imperial God Tree, the diamond, Long Luo's two swords, as well as the spiritual energy, corpse gas and corpse poison were all placed in front of Dao Daosai. Master Bai Yasha, you have made so many things during this period of time. No. The corpses of the three big demons also had two demon swords with strong demonic auras, and there was also the diamond of Baoxiangui, and the imperial sacred wood that retained its power was also obtained by him, and there were also things he had never seen before. No, originally, I thought that Bai Yi was just going out to get some materials casually, and Dao Daosai didn't have too much expectation on how many good things he could get back. He even thought about whether to take out some of the things in the bottom of the box to make a good sword for Bai Yi. As a result, Bai Yi actually made so many things. Oh, by the way, there is also the flame of the ringing furnace. This flame has a better forging effect. Let me use it together. How long will it take you to forge a sword for me? Bai Yi took out the flame of the ringing furnace that Zoji had taken out and saved for her. It would be better to use this to forge. It may take some time. There is also your teeth, Master Bai Yasha. In addition, these two completely different powers, Master Bai Yasha, have you ever thought about making two weapons? Totusai, I have an idea. Is it possible to create a handle for me that can suit my wishes? When I want to use it, it will have whatever power I want, just like an iron broken tooth. Although Bai Yi doesn't think Tai Suya is suitable for him, Tai Suya has an ability that Bai Yi is actually envious of. It's Tai Suya who can swallow demon power and evolve different moves. Bai Yi didn't want two swords, but one that could switch abilities at will. Does Master Bai Yaksha want to make it like Tai Suya? Totosai was also a little troubled. It was an accident that he made Tetsuya. He never expected to create such a heaven-defying weapon. If Bai Yi asked him to build it like Tai Suya, he felt that he might not be able to build it. It doesn't matter, it doesn't have to be based on Tai Suya's ability, but you can let these abilities fuse together, and then when I want to use which ability, it will appear according to my heart, instead of all appearing at once. And although it doesn't appear all at once, if I need to use all the power together, it must be compatible with other abilities and be used by me. Bai Yi has been following it. Although I can do without it, but no, I can't live without it. So it doesn't have to be the effect of swallowing demon power, right? Totosai's eyes lit up. If Bai Yi insisted on it, he couldn't give it to him. But if you don't have this feature, you can still try to build it yourself. By the way, if I have to reforge later, will it take away all my previous abilities? Bai Yi was thinking about recreating it later. This knife is not the final version yet. No, just come to me directly later. If you want to modify it, just provide the materials. Totosai can still guarantee this. About 15 days. Master Byakusha just needs to wait for 15 days. Okay, I'll find you to pick up the knife in 15 days. Bai Yi nodded and made an estimate, feeling that it was about the same. Come back to Totozai in 15 days to pick up the sword. There are too many materials. I can't use them all to make a knife. It's really distressing. Totosai scratched the few hairs on his forehead helplessly. The reason why he had just suggested that Bai Yi make 2 weapons was because Bai Yi gave him too many materials. With so many materials, he really didn't know how to use them all. Leaving the materials given by the knife owner for other people to use or to collect for himself was a taboo for knife makers. It seems that it can only be used later. If there are too many to use up, then make a dagger or something else for Bai Yi. Totosai also had an idea in his heart. After talking to Totosai, Bai Yi looked at Queasy, who was sitting on a big rock and looking into the distance, waiting for him to come over. He patted Queasy on the shoulder and reminded, "Okay, you can go, Queasy." Queasy turned her head, looked at Bai Yi and asked, "Is it good? We need to wait for 15 days. Don't you want to go for a walk? Is there anywhere else you want to go?" Of course he won't continue to wait here for these 15 days, so he can go for a walk with Queasy. "Well, I want to go to a bigger town to buy some things." "Okay, there happens to be one nearby." The towns during the Warring States period were not very big, but most of the time when you wanted to buy something, you couldn't buy it in a small village. Strange, no monsters are allowed to enter here. She came in with Bai Yi, and found that monsters were not prohibited from entering. "Do you really miss me that I can't come in?" "No. So what did you come here to buy?" "A change of clothes. I don't want to keep walking around this world wearing this combat uniform." Queasy said softly. She wants to walk with Bai Yi as an ordinary person, not Queasy, the demon slayer. "Oh, then you go and choose. I'll go shopping by myself." When Bai Yi came to this world, it was his first time in a human city. As for following Queasy to buy clothes, Bai Yi would not do it. His past life experience told him that if you follow a woman to buy clothes, no matter how strong your physical strength is, you will end up exhausted. After saying goodbye to Queasy, Bai Yi also started walking around the city. It was a bit similar to ancient times, with all kinds of gadgets. When he came to a small stall, Bai Yi paused. "Hello, young master, do you want to see Rouge?" The little girl looked at Bai Yi nervously. The man in front of her was dressed in gorgeous clothes, which was in sharp contrast to the linen clothes on her body. She was also a little scared facing the distinguished guests. What kind of rouge is usually given to women? Listening to Bai Yi's words, the girl was stunned. "Ah, is there any rouge for men? It's usually red." Before the girl could answer, a gentle voice reminded her slowly. Bai Yi turned his head to look at the person coming. The warrior on the side also picked up his weapon and quickly protected the person in front of him. "Princess, please go back. It's not safe outside." "Well, if I want to give the person I like rouge, I can choose this red color. I believe the person will like it." Izayoi. So this is Izayoi's father's castle. No wonder he wasn't stopped, probably because of Inu Admiral. Byakuya looked at Izayoi's belly. There was a new life brewing there. It seemed to be his second stupid auto. "I see." Picking up rouge, Bai Yi left in a hurry after paying the money. Looking at Byakuya's back, a trace of disgust flashed across Satsuna Mengmaru's face. "Princess, that guy smells like a monster." "I know it," Izayoi still answered gently, but at the same time, he secretly wondered in his heart, could it be Inu Admiral's child? He looked somewhat similar to Inu Shogun, and he also had a similar smell. He touched his belly, and a maternal light flashed across Izayoi's face. This scene fell into Satsuna Tengen's eyes. This was even more. It made him extremely jealous and crazy. In his opinion, it's all the monster's fault. If it weren't for him, Princess Izayoi would definitely be with him. "Bai Yi, are you finished shopping so soon?" Queasy has already bought all the clothes, and the styles are similar. She feels good, but it is a pity that Bai Yi was not here just now. Well, I'll give this to you, Bai Yi said, giving the rouge he just selected to Queasy. Ha, rouge. Queasy opened the shell, and the rouge inside came into view. Well, because I think this should be quite suitable for you. Isn't it said that all girls have rouge? I don't think you have one, so I gave you one. Thanks. Queasy felt a wave of emotion in her heart. It seemed like it was the first time she was treated as a woman. It seems that in everyone's mind, she is an exorcist, a great witch, an existence that can protect everything, but no one has ever regarded herself as a real woman. She has received many gifts, but never rouge. After smearing some of the rouge in the shell on her index finger, and then on her lips, Queasy raised her head and looked at Bai Yi, with a trace of expectation in her eyes. Does it look good? Nice. Bai Yi's face turned slightly red, and she suddenly realized in her heart that it seemed that not only stupid half-demon would be with humans. The two people's faces gradually came closer, and Yun Yu on the side tilted her head and looked at the two people in confusion. How about it? The woman you like already likes other monsters. Do you want to cooperate with us? In the Demon Slayer village, the monsters found a man in the village. This man has always been secretly in love with Queasy, but he dared not express his love. However, as time goes by, his love contains more evil thoughts, and he longs for Queasy. This evil thought has even attracted the surrounding monsters. Noticing the man's evil thoughts and knowing the desire in the man's heart, the monsters began to seduce the man, hoping that the man would cooperate with them and merge into a powerful half-demon, and introduce Queasy into the originally designed cave. Queasy was eliminated. The man was a little shaken at first. Although he loved Queasy, he was still hesitant. He knew very well that once he really became one with the monsters, the probability that he would be with Queasy as a monster would be very low. But after seeing what the monsters showed him, the man's mentality collapsed instantly. Why? Queasy is such a powerful witch, why would she be with a monster? Monsters and witches themselves are two opposites, and Queasy has always taken the responsibility of exterminating monsters, but a witch who eliminates monsters finally comes together with monsters. What an irony. At the same time, this also caused the man's original persistence to be shattered in an instant. Don't you know yet? You don't have the strength, so you can only watch Queasy being with other men. If you merge with us, you will be able to have strong strength. Won't you also have a chance? What's more, since if you can't get it, then why let other monsters get it? That guy is the son of General Inu. You can't be his opponent at all. It's impossible to get Queasy back. So why are you still hesitating now? The bewitching voices of the monsters have completely destroyed the man's psychological defense. He only hates Queasy now, and hates Queasy for her depravity, that she would choose to be with a monster. Since he can't get it, he will never allow other monsters to get it. The loopholes in the soul are captured by monsters, and the monsters begin to merge with men. Lord Kingming, it's done over there and a suitable monster carrier has been found. The next step is to wait until Queasy appears. The boy told Abe Seimei the latest information, and everything was going according to their plan. Surprisingly, the man originally thought it would take some time, but he did not expect that the love between Queasy and the monster seemed to be exciting. Here comes the man. This also speeds up the progress. Well, the two of them are actually together. What a fateful meeting. A trace of emotion flashed across Abe Seimei's face. Looking at the person in the mirror, he never thought, is this really love? If two people who love each other merge into the Four Souls Jade, and continue to fight with the monsters in the Four Souls Jade, this may become a more perfect Jade. So do we need to schedule it now? No, the monster aura on that man is too strong. He will be discovered before he even gets close. Abe Haruaki shook his head. This was not a good time to act. The man had just merged with the monster, and the monster aura on his body was very strong. Coupled with his very evil heart, it was impossible for him to get close to the two people. Even after a while, he can't hide his aura. Don't worry, we can give him some treasures to hide the aura on his body, just in time to let them fall into the trap together. If there are two, it seems that relying on these monsters alone is not enough, right? If it is one Queasy, then the monsters can rely on the monsters, monster C tactics to drag the opponent to death. But if there is another Bai Yi, it seems unlikely, right? Doesn't Inu Taisho still have many enemies? Abe Haruaki said lightly. It is indeed impossible to rely on these monsters alone. But Inu Teisho is not without enemies. If you can't deal with Inu Teisho, can't you deal with Inu Teisho's son? I understand, Lord Kingming. Well, go and make arrangements. Since that guy has merged with the monsters, you go find something to feed him. Don't let the jade become too weak. The night parade of 100 demons is about to begin, and Hyenkyo is almost losing its function. A gleam of light flashed in Abe Kingming's eyes. His plan was about to begin, but he had to get the jade ready before that. Otherwise, it wouldn't be perfect. And everything has been planned. Abe Kingming is also looking forward to it. Two people and monsters in love will be entangled with each other in the Four Souls Jade and fight with other monsters in the Jade forever. Such a Four Souls Jade seems to be a very potential jade. Monster Bai Yi. Although it's a bit strange, I seem to be single. In the chat group, he briefly explained his situation here. He originally just wanted to give Queasy a box of rouge, but he didn't expect to be with the other party in such a muddle. Zombie Bai Yi. Kill them all. JGP. Hokage Byakuya. I'm still a child, don't tell me that. Daily Byakuya. I'm so envious, you're the first one in the group to be single. Pirate Byakuya. What are you envious of? There are so many beauties in your world, unlike me. My world is really miserable. When I get old, there are a lot of green flowers. Although there is pure gold, who knows if the figure will be out of shape after having pure gold. It is true that I won't get old, but the people here shrink when they get old. Hokage Byakuya. If I remember correctly, according to the setting, won't the Empress look good when she gets old? Pirate Byakuya. Am I going to play the cultivation game? Daily Byakuya. Have you ever thought about the old lady? The root of Momonosuke's appearance is cut off. Momonosuke must die. Ding. The chat group meets the invitation conditions, and new people are joining. Hong Kong Variety Show White Knight, Death God White Knight, King of Fighters White Knight, Biochemical White Knight join the chat group. Hong Kong General News, Bai Yi affiliated, Zhang Fabai's disciple. Strength, Qi Training Entry Qi Training, Foundation Building, Human Master, Earth Master, Heavenly Master, Yuenshin, divided into Primary, Intermediate, Advanced, Peak. Ability, Maoshan Qi Training, Maoshan Talisman. Death God, Bai Yi affiliated, Deputy Captain of the 4th Division. Strength, Ordinary Death God, Deputy Captain, Captain Level, Demigod, True God. Ability Zanquan Zugi, Zanpakudo, Advanced Kaido. King of Fighters, Bai Yi affiliated, Shiranui Dojo. Strength, Third Rate Fighter, Third Rate, Second Rate, First Rate, Super First Rate, God Level. Ability, Shiranui Style Fighting Technique. Resident Evil, Bai Yi affiliated Interpol. Strength, Strength cannot be assessed in this world. Ability, Top-level marksmanship, close combat, anti-eavesdropping and other high-tech proficiency. Hong Kong Variety Show Bai Yi. My buddy finally got a golden finger, I'm so excited, the Thunder Fruit is awesome, the Mangekyo is awesome, and there are also the skills of the Shenshao School, and the passive 8 gates are all arranged, is this heaven? Pirate Bai Yi. Is Zhang Fabai in your side? Only play high-end games. Hong Kong Variety Show Bai Yi. Don't mention it, it's just a big mixed Hong Kong Variety Show world, there are young and dangerous, there are old corpses in the mountain village, anyway, you can think of it. Fortunately, I traveled here and became Zhang Fabai's apprentice, otherwise I would not know how to die. This is a very chaotic Hong Kong Variety Show era, demons and monsters are rampant, even if you become Zhang Fabai's apprentice, you still don't know how to die. After all, even Zhang Fabai, who only plays high-end games, died. It would be miserable to rely on yourself to survive in this world that integrates various Hong Kong Variety Show demons and monsters. Death God Bai Yi. Ah, yourself in the heavens and all realms. I'm currently mixed up with the opponent of the 4th team. Is it not embarrassing? Hokage Byakuya. No, but with your joining, I feel that my soul power has become much stronger, and even the Mangekyo seems to be stronger. Death God Byakuya. Is it because of my soul strength? Speaking of which, the Death God is made up of spirit particles, and that's indeed the case. Hokage Byakuya. Yes, that's right. By the way, I have a question, how did an ordinary Death God become a vice captain? Death God Byakuya. This has to be said that I burst out with a very strong spiritual pressure during the test. Even the captain-in-chief was suppressed by me, and Aizen thought I had some strength and kept trying to test me, but I don't know how I burst out. I am now just an ordinary death god, and even my Zanpakuto ability has not awakened. In order to avoid being exposed, I joined the 4th division. You don't know how hard it is for me to pretend. Others are really strong in pretending, but I pretended passively for no reason, and I don't even know what happened. At first, he explained, but no one believed him, so he just gave up. In short, after that spiritual pressure, everyone in the 13th division of Soul Society believed that their strength would never be as simple as it seemed. So, he could only keep his expressionless face, cold and few words, and then spend his days in the 4th division, not even daring to practice, for fear of being seen by others. Fortunately, his talent for Kaido was very good, and he was soon promoted to vice captain, which made others believe that his strength was indeed not as simple as it seemed. Anyway, he didn't dare to leave the 4th division now. First of all, Aizen would probably find a hollow to test him. If he didn't have the strength, he would probably be chopped by Aizen. Then Kenpachi Zaraki always wanted to fight with him. If he left here, he might be caught by Kenpachi Zaraki directly, so he could only stay here. As a result, the chat group pulled him in today. He refused at first. After all, his strength was not good, but after knowing that the chat group was all from himself in the 10,000 worlds, he agreed. After coming in, he finally found the organization. Hokage Byakuya. It's okay, wait until we practice well, and get you something to improve your strength. Thinking about it, this guy is really miserable. It turns out that there are really people who have been pretending for so many years without being exposed. This acting skill is unmatched. Daily White Knight, where are the other two? King of Fighters White Knight, practicing in the Shiranui dojo, settling down. Daily White Knight, are you settling down in the Shiranui dojo? I don't even want to expose you. Who doesn't know that little thought? Pirate White Knight, Beast. King of Fighters White Knight, ahem, actually I have a little thought. At present, my timeline is at 93. Andy hasn't gone up the mountain yet, but it should be soon. Anyway, he only has fighting in his mind. In this case, I can only do it for him, and Andy will practice well. By the way, buddy, aren't you in the pirate world? What do you envy? Oh, you are still in the Rocks era. Ant is okay. It's not a loss to have a shot. Just don't let her have your child. Are you still not satisfied? At that time, even Roger called Big Mama Beauty, and she was known as the most beautiful woman in the Rocks Pirates. Are you still envious of others? Think about the Ant's current appearance and figure. No matter how you look at her, she is not bad, especially her height, which has maxed out certain attributes. Pirate White Knight. Don't say it. Can you imagine that in a few decades, the Ant will say to you with her bloated figure, "Don't forget that we had a relationship," and then a group of people on the side will suddenly look at you with an expression of gossip. King of Fighters White Knight. Indeed, your old age is not auspicious in that world. Biochemical White Knight. Hello, joining the chat group is like finding an organization. When I get the T-virus, everyone will come to get one. Daily White Knight. That's great. Are you from the game or the movie? Biochemical White Knight. From the game. Daily White Knight. Wouldn't there be Ant Wong? Although there are also movies. Biochemical White Knight. Not only this, there are many more. The chat group reminds me that I have Ishimura and Silent Hill here. It is probably a worldview that integrates a lot of games, similar to the world of Hong Kong variety shows. King of Fighters White Knight. If you say so, I have it here too. I have Baki and Street Fighter here. Strictly speaking, my world here is equivalent to integrating some fighting-type worldviews. Daily White Knight. Based on this, you not only have the T-virus, but also the G-virus, Veronica and other messy things. In the later period, there are also molds and other messy things. Biochemical White Knight. Almost the same, but now as Interpol, I am investigating some things of Umbrella Corporation. Although I know it, it is still annoying to investigate. I know it, but no one will believe it if he says it, and I have to get the information myself. Because of my intervention, the international attention to Umbrella Corporation has also been advanced a lot, and the investigation work has also fallen on me. King of Fighters White Knight. Is that so? Then your world is actually quite dangerous, but after joining the chat group, it seems to be much simpler in the later period. We only need to improve our own strength. The ability of other worlds in the future is simply invincible. This elementalization is released in my world. I guess few people can deal with me. Originally, he had been hesitating whether to participate in the KOF competition. After all, there were still more than 3 or 4 years before the King of Fighters 97 and the first resurrection of Orochi. But as a member of a non-3 sacred treasure family, he was actually just a bystander in the past. Each of them exchanged information about their own world. Except for the world of death, it seems that the other 3 worlds of Baiyi have integrated a lot of worldviews into it. Ding! New members have joined, and each member has a free lottery opportunity. After new members join, members who have received this reward will no longer receive it repeatedly. Ah, 1 free lottery per person. It's just a pity. If every time a new member joins, you can get a chance to draw a lottery, it would be perfect. Daily Baiyi. Draw together. Hokage Baiyi. Okay. The 9 people decided to draw together. Ding. Successfully used the lottery. Congratulations on getting Naruto, Sage Body, Pirate, Steel Balloon, Physique, Zombie, Ring of Merit, Monster, Breaking the Barrier, Demon Sword Ability, can be fused into the sword after forging. Daily White Knight, Demon Cultivation Physique, Hong Kong General, Washing the Tendons and Marrow once, Death God White Knight, Perfect Fusion of Hollow Power, King of Fighters White Knight, Blood of Orochi Not Crazy Version, Biochemistry, Artificial Intelligence Red Queen. Naruto White Knight. WTF. Sage Body is coming now. Doesn't this mean that I can use the Mangekyo infinitely? After the physical fusion, White Knight felt that he seemed to have endless strength all over his body, and the chakra that had barely reached the 3 cards suddenly increased. Pirate White Knight. Don't say it, Buddy got Big Mom's physique directly, and later I will get Kaido's ghost physique. One is invincible in defense, and the other is strong in recovery. I will take off directly. He already has Blackbeard's alien physique, and now there is another one of the 4 emperors, and then Kaido's, and finally Red Hair's face, so he has gathered all the 4 emperors together. And the steel balloon not only provides defense, but also improves his physical strength a lot. This is Charlotte Linlin's physique, HP 4700, Armor 329, Magic Resistance 201 Hero, Unstoppable. Zombie Baiyi. Mine seems to accumulate merits by killing evil spirits and zombies. Merits can give back to my cultivation and protect me. It's pretty good. Hong Kong General Baiyi. Ahem, do you think I can use it here? After washing my tendons and marrow just now, I feel that my body is more suitable for cultivation, but the spiritual energy in modern society is scarce. Zombie Baiyi. Yes, in the later stage, you will try to see if the merits will enter the ability after you kill demons and exorcise demons. This Ring of Merit is an ability, not a prop. You can use it directly. Everyone is in the world of cultivation, and they all have merits. Maybe if I can use it here, he can also use it there. Hokage Baiyi. Then your cultivation speed has increased. You don't need to practice step by step like before. With this, I feel that the improvement of the 2 worlds of cultivation should be quite large, but it seems that my world can't be used. It's impossible to kill Otsutsuki and get merits, right? There is no such setting of merit. Monster Baiyi. Then why did I work so hard to find these materials? So this is also a reward. In the later stage, the ability of Explosion Flow Break and Tensai Fang will probably be rewarded to me, right? Death God Baiyi. The power of the hollow. I may have the power of Fullbring and Quincy in the future, but it's also good. My strength has soared from an ordinary death god to the vice captain level. The improvement of strength certainly makes me feel very comfortable. He wants to survive. King of Fighters Baiyi. Me too. The blood of Orochi is simply BT. I also have the ability of Blue Flame, and I have directly risen from a 3rd-rate fighter to a 1st-rate fighter. Xiao Wu, it seems that I can't let you win again today. Baiyi thought happily in his heart. He had been suppressed by my Shiranui in the past, and was suppressed in various ways. Today, he finally got to turn over and sing. Biochemical Baiyi. It's better than nothing. Red Queen is also good to me. At least some of the research in the later stage seems to be something I can't do myself. Whether it's the T-virus or anything else, I can't do it myself, I can only rely on scientists, but scientists in the biochemical world, who knows when they will be backstabbed. Red Queen is good, she won't backstab me, always loyal. Naruto White Knight. Ah. Is this the feeling of using the Mangekyo and various ninjutsu at will? All I need is a clap of my hands, and I can get whatever I want. Cool. He feels like he can be casual now, and Gundam can finally stop worrying about not being able to hold up. Pirate White Knight. Indeed, the ability of a steel balloon has given me the strength to be a backup for the Admiral. 3-color domineering, Thunder Fruit, Steel Balloon, 3 kinds of life-saving abilities are maxed out. God Valley feels that there is no need to think about escaping, but to seek greater benefits. Daily White Knight. Everyone has improved their strength, but I'm fine, I finally have a special ability. It should be Koizumi Hongzi's physique, right? In the Conan world, there is Koizumi Hongzi, she is also the only magician in the science world. Although the 8 gates of Dunjia has been shared as a passive skill. But without special abilities, he feels uncomfortable all over. Now he finally has the physique to cultivate magic. Daily Bai Yi. No more talking, Buddy is going to trade with the Black Organization. Since he got the gold last time, Bai Yi found the Black Organization through some special channels. Because it involves the trade of arms, and both parties are trading for the first time, they are naturally a little cautious. But that was just the beginning. Bai Yi was worried that the Black Organization would rob him, but now he doesn't eat beef. Did you bring the things? You may not have brought what I want. In an abandoned factory, Bai Yi, Jin and Vodka were facing each other, and Bai Yi also felt that there was a sniper rifle pointed at him in the distance. Hey boy, what are you talking about? Vodka raised his head and looked at Bai Yi in displeasure. How could this guy be so arrogant in front of his elder brother Jin? Didn't he know he was being targeted by a sniper rifle? Looking at the hooded man whose face he couldn't see clearly in front of him, he curled up his lips. He was just a man hiding his head and showing his tail. Pay with one hand and deliver with the other. It's the rules of the world. Is there a problem? Bai Yi raised his head and looked at Vodka, looking at the pair of eyes leaking out from under the darkness of the hood. Vodka was shocked, and a creepy feeling instantly swept through his body. He felt as if he was going to be killed by the opponent in the next second. Brother. Vodka quickly turned his head to look at Jin. After seeing that his eldest brother was as calm as ever, he couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief in his heart. It was his eldest brother who was still calm. At the same time, he unconsciously took a step back. Okay, we've brought everything. Barrett, where's our money? Jin waved his hand, then raised his hand to signal Vodka to give the box to him. Seeing this, Vodka handed the box in his hand to Jin. After Jin opened it, there was also the Barrett he needed before the White Knight. It was obviously impossible to ask for missiles for the first time, not to mention that the Black Organization actually didn't know if Bai Yi could get them. But speaking of it, it seems that Bai Yi in the biochemical world can do something about it in the future. While thinking about it, Bai Yi also placed the money he had prepared in front of the two of them. Previously, Byakuya in the pirate world gave him 100 kilograms of gold in exchange for almost $5 million. A Barrett didn't cost much, so Byakuya was going to save most of the money and not use it until later to buy missiles. I have to say that this sniper rifle is quite cheap. The key is that bullets are really expensive. Vodka. Yes, sir. Vodka put the box down and then took it from Bai Yi. He's the real big brother. Gone. Jin nodded and then prepared to leave. Although the Black Organization likes to silence everyone, not everyone is silenced. After all, they are just trading firearms, not their core secrets. There is no need to silence people, maybe they can still do business in the future. Wait, can you get the missiles? Quote. A trace of astonishment flashed across Jin's face, and Vodka on the side also looked at Bai Yi with an outrageous expression. Not a buddy. The first time you asked for Barrett, the second time you asked for missiles, what do you want the next time? In fact, in the previous deal with Bai Yi, they only wanted to try out a pistol or a less powerful submachine gun. After all, it was the first time to trade, and I didn't know what the situation of the other party was. If a police officer came to arrest them, it would be really troublesome to trade with weapons. But fortunately, the first transaction went smoothly. It seemed that the other party really just wanted a Barrett. But after this Barrett, you asked for missiles when you opened your mouth. Do you have a big appetite? What missile? On the contrary, Jin became interested. Really, as expected, the world of K Shui cannot be viewed as a normal world. After all, the Black Organization is an organization that spans the entire world. It may not be difficult for them to obtain missiles. Bai Yi originally just said a word to test, but since they have it, Bai Yi will certainly not be polite. He had already said in the pirate world that if he wanted to carry out a long-range strike, IM should not be the only one with it. He should let IM know that he also had a weapon that could kill him in the Holy Land with a missile at any time. The strike is farther away and more powerful. No, are you crazy? Vodka feels like Bai Yi is really crazy. What does he want with this missile? If you have the money, we can get it for you, but at least you have to show us your sincerity, right? Missiles are not really easy to use, and the most important thing is what Bai Yi wants to do with this missile. Compared to vodka, Jin didn't think Bai Yi was crazy. Although the other party does not know the purpose of trading this kind of thing with him, since he wants it, he obviously has his own ideas. However, they definitely can't give missiles if they ask for them. Who can think of whether they will use them to hit themselves later? At least it has to wait until the follow-up, and the identity of the other party is not yet known, so Jin will not give it to the other party. Okay, let's keep the deal going. This is my business card. If you encounter something difficult to do, you can come to me. But you need to pay. If you come to me, you have to pay me whether you do it or not. It doesn't matter if you don't do it or not. No. With that said, Bai Yi threw the business card to Vodka, then took Barrett and left. Looking at Bai Yi's leaving figure, who finally disappeared into a small alley, Vodka muttered with some dissatisfaction, "Brother, that guy is really too arrogant. Why didn't Chianti and the others just kill this fool? Alright. Vodka has never seen such an arrogant person. And he even pretended to be cool in their faces. What do you mean? As long as you find him, you have to pay him whether you do anything or not. And their black organization has Admiral Jin, what do they need you to do? Haha, give me that guy's business card." Jin grinned, obviously interested. It seems that the other party wants to cooperate with him. And it seems that he should know something about his organization. Although he is not sure what the ultimate goal is for the time being, Jin does not mind cooperating with him. After all, the black organization seems to have a lot of people, but Jin also knows that there are many undercovers. If Bai Yi can complete some tasks for him, then some of his things will not be exposed to other organizations. Brother, you don't really want to find him, right? We can do it ourselves, and that guy may also be from other organizations. Recently, our organization has been targeted badly. Vodka also said with some concern. Don't worry, we will know if we try it. Besides, some things can't be done by people in the organization. After all, they are indeed targeted. Although Jin doesn't care about this at all, after all, in his opinion, whoever targets them will be killed. But there will always be some mistakes in the tasks in the middle. If there is one who does not belong to the organization, he can also arrange some tasks. If the price is to pay money to solve it, then he feels pretty good. Anyway, the other party also wants to buy arms from him. After all these, they didn't pay much. Thinking of this, he picked up the business card and dialed the number on it. "Hello, it's me." After the call was connected, Jin directly stated his identity. "What's the matter? I have a favor to ask you. Help me get something, $1 million US. What is it? A gem called Queen's Tears. No. Quote. No, I just said that I would find you if I had any problems. It's not long after I finished saying this, and you can't do it. Are you really capable? Stealing treasures will damage my reputation. You have to pay more." Just kidding. Bai Yi on the other end of the phone was a little speechless. He originally thought that Jin was looking for him to kill and rob, but he actually asked him to be a thief. He still has to make a living. What's the point of being called a thief in the future? For this kind of self-desecration, Bai Yi must let Jin pay him more. Unlike the pirate world where Bai Yi directly gave himself gold, it feels better to make money by himself. On the other side, Jin was silent for a while, then slowly said, 2 million. Okay. After hanging up the phone, Jin grinned, suddenly feeling quite interesting. Brother, Why do you want to steal a useless gem? Do they need this gem? Vodka asked puzzledly. The Pandora gem may have become another name now, so we can't let go of any gem. At the same time, it's just a good opportunity to test his ability. This gem has been targeted by Kato Kid, Cat's Eye and Lupin 3. If his ability is feasible, he can definitely get it, and it will be convenient for subsequent cooperation. If he can't even solve these 3 thieves, he will be like that, and there will be no need to continue to contact him later. Jin explained lightly. In his opinion, this is just a cover. The Pandora gem is not only being sought by them, but also by many others. The legendary stone of destiny that can make people immortal. As the confidant of that gentleman, Jin naturally knows what that gentleman has been pursuing. Isn't the research on APTX 4869 for immortality? Big Brother is really awesome, you are worthy of being called Big Brother. Vodka's eyes lit up after listening to Jin's explanation, blaming himself for not thinking of this before. If Bai Yi can't get it, the $2 million will naturally not be given to him, and there will be no need to cooperate with an incompetent person in the future. But if it is possible, then the $2 million will be regarded as making friends. Let's go Chianti, Cohen. Jin said to the headset, then got on the old car and left here. Before coming here, he also arranged 2 people, and if there is anything wrong, he will directly shoot Bai Yi. In the bar, back, yeah, Jin nodded, then sat next to Vermouth and asked the bartender for a glass of wine. How is that guy? It's okay, he is a partner who can cooperate, but we need to test his ability first. It's really amazing, he actually found us in that way. It's really unheard of. They think they are hiding well, but this method really makes Jin interested. So, that guy is not going to be absorbed into the organization. He looks like a computer expert. Let's wait and see. Jin shook his head and didn't say anything else. Tisk, I'll leave if it's okay. After saying that, Vermouth also felt bored and stood up to leave. She didn't come back to find Jin this time. Daily Byakuya. How is it? Feeling. After getting the Barrett, he gave it to Byakuya in the pirate world. Pirate Byakuya. Okay, it's much more powerful than the guns in this world. It can also be attached with hockey. In this way, you can get some other pistols, rifles, etc., but it feels easy to be copied. Even if Vegapunk is not needed, it seems that everything can be copied after the world government figures it out. Hokage Byakuya. What are you going to do then? Pirate Byakuya. Hide it if you can. Don't give good weapons like this to ordinary pirates. It's too easy for others to take it away, so he has thought about it. This is to give cadres, at least temporarily, to prevent the world government from imitating it. Daily White Knight. Actually, there are missiles and so on in the future, but there is no chance yet. Those guys are on guard. Can't I just go and rob them? As he said this, he suddenly realized a problem. He doesn't need to trade at all. His current physical fitness only needs to wait until the 8 gates of Dunjia is trained. On the first day, he observed whether there were other superpowers in this world, and fought to maintain world peace. On the second day, after confirming that no one could kill him, he directly transformed into a native. On the third day, I don't eat beef. Biochemical White Knight. It's completely possible, but you probably can't live a good life there. I'll wait until the world is in chaos and see if I can get you some. The daily world is still relatively peaceful. I'll wait until the biochemical crisis breaks out completely here, and there will be all kinds of things in the future. I'm afraid it will be completely chaotic. At that time, it won't be a problem for me to have a little boy. Daily White Knight. That's right, I can earn some money to buy it. Pirate White Knight. It's okay, I'll go to the Golden Country to get you some gold. Isn't it easy to get money? There's so much gold in the Golden Country, you can just go to the Sky Island and take it away. Daily White Knight. You don't understand, I feel a sense of accomplishment when I earn money, but there's nothing to do, it's too peaceful here. Daily White Knight. But I also found something unusual here, let me see it and then I'll tell you. At first, he felt like he was going to die, because this was rice flour. But now, he feels like he's going to be happy, because this is rice flour. So he's going to find something for himself to do. After leaving the convenience store, he obviously can't continue to work in his current situation. So he's going to set up a jack of all trades here to help solve various problems. Making money is one aspect, and the other is to have some fun for himself. As for studying, he's ready to take a long leave. Because he found that in addition to science, there seemed to be other things in this world that he needed to investigate. Johnzi, I feel that you look bad recently. Is it true, Xuanhua? Johnzi raised her head and looked at Xuanhua with a reluctant look. Recently, she felt that her life seemed to have undergone earth-shaking changes. But this change was not what she wanted, and because of these things, her life had become a mess. Johnzi looked around in confusion, and everything around her felt unreal. God, if possible, please save me. Johnzi whispered in her heart. Of course, Johnzi, you have dark circles under your eyes. Dark circles. In the mirror in Xuanhua's hand, her haggard face seemed to be really tired recently. Jin, the Queen's Tears is worth $32 million. You give me $2 million. After Bai Yi checked the information of the Queen's Tears on the internet, he crushed the mouse directly. Looking at the estimated value of $32 million, Bai Yi now wants to go over and cut the price of Jin. I thought it was normal for the middleman to make a profit. So you think you are a sucker? You pay $2 million for something worth $32 million, how come I didn't see you so black before? Very good. If you are Jin, don't blame him for being unjust. Taking the money doesn't mean I will give you the Queen's Tears. Jin just said that he would steal the Queen's Tears himself, and didn't say that he would give it to him after stealing it. Taking the money doesn't mean I accept it. Inequality is solved in seconds. First, steal this gem first, and then spread the reputation of the firm. Since we are going to set up a firm, we need to rent a place. The place where I live now is obviously not suitable. But all of this is based on having money. Since I have already thought about it, I still need to do some things by myself and cannot always rely on myself in other worlds to pay. Missiles are the most expensive. In the later stage, I may have to build an aircraft carrier for myself in the pirate world. Then this task can be completed, and stealing things suddenly seems to open up new ideas for Bai Yi. What is the fastest way to make money? Playing finance. But Bai Yi can't do it. There are also various technical jobs, but Bai Yi doesn't have much time to do them, but there is one thing that makes money quickly. Whoever has money, he will steal from. How much money can a poor person have? Whoever has money will get money. After changing to a new mouse, Bai Yi recorded this account and asked Jin to reimburse him later. Click on the information again and slide down. The Queen's Tears is a recent hot news because it was targeted by 3 gangs of thieves, Cat's Eye, Phantom Thief Kid and Lupin 3. The 3 of them jointly sent a notice to the curator of the art gallery that collected the Queen and the like. First it was Cat's Eye, and then Kid and Lupin 3 seemed to be competing to see who had the better thief skills, so they all chose to attack the Queen's Tears together at 11:30 tonight. Because the 3 thieves are so famous, the recent news is all about the Queen's Tears, and Bai Yi knows all about this information. Then let you be the first step in my fame. Bai Yi touched his chin and kept his eyes on the 3 names. Since there are 3 thieves here, if he can take the Queen's Tears away from the 3 thieves, wouldn't it prove that he is stronger? Later, he still has to cooperate with Jin. At least there are some things that Bai Yi can't do. He needs to rely on others to do it. Isn't it great to have an organization that can do things by spending money? Then, Bai Yi began to plan the theft tonight, preparing for a gorgeous start. Well, I'm addicted to pretending. Ding-ling-the-ling, Bai Yi was thinking, and a phone call instantly interrupted his thoughts. Who is it? Who disrupted my operational thinking today? If you don't tell me the reason, I will definitely not let you have an easy time. I just thought of a very gorgeous way to appear. As a result, this phone call instantly disrupted my thoughts. Hee, Bai Yi, you are good, not only skipping classes, but also making things difficult for me. It's just right, I also want to see how you make things difficult for me. The voice on the other end of the phone was cold, and the expression that was originally not allowed to enter was even colder. Obviously, Bai Yi's words almost made the person on the other side explode. Ah, is it my lovely teacher Shizuka Hiratsuka? Sorry, the signal here is not good, I'll hang up first. How could this female devil forget herself? After saying that, Bai Yi hung up the phone directly. Even if Shizuka Hiratsuka continued to call, Bai Yi pretended not to hear it. Until the sun was high in the sky. Bai Yi looked at Shizuka Hiratsuka, who was sneering outside the door, and thought to himself that it was not good. Teacher, don't forget who solved your marriage problem. Yes, how could the teacher forget? If it weren't for you, a fool, I would have married long ago. Shizuka Hiratsuka was even more angry. At the beginning, Bai Yi was still a problem youth, but Shizuka Hiratsuka was unwilling to give up Bai Yi, so she started the so-called rescue plan. The relationship between the two gradually became familiar. One day, it rained non-stop. Seeing Bai Yi's soaked appearance, Shizuka Hiratsuka felt sympathy and asked Bai Yi to go back with her to take a bath, and then go back after the rain stopped. So, a little story after the rain happened. It happened that Shizuka Hiratsuka's parents came to see her, and then saw Bai Yi who had just taken a bath. Although the old couple didn't say anything at the time, Shizuka Hiratsuka later found that her parents didn't seem to ask too many questions about her relationship problems. There were no more urging for marriage during the Chinese New Year, and some other things. Shizuka Hiratsuka felt relieved at first. Although she realized that she was misunderstood, she thought that it was a misunderstanding, and it would benefit her anyway, so she didn't explain. As time went by, her parents occasionally mentioned that she should take Bai Yi back to see the family, but later she found that her parents seemed to have decided that she and Bai Yi should get married, and she was confused. At that time, she kept explaining, but her parents took this as an excuse for not wanting to get married, so they began to urge Shizuka Hiratsuka to have a child first. So, later Shizuka Hiratsuka also attributed all the reasons for her inability to get married to Bai Yi, and her reputation was ruined by Bai Yi. Now everyone in the family doesn't know that she has a younger boyfriend. Then you can't blame me, you can't get married. Bai Yi won't take the blame for this. In the anime, isn't Shizuka Hiratsuka the one who can't get married at all? How is it possible? How can a good woman like me not get married? Yes, you smoke, drink, and like to beat people, but you are still a good woman. It's not like Bai Yi hasn't seen Shizuka Hiratsuka on a blind date. Good guy. Drink a few cans of beer before going on a blind date, and then ask the other person if he smokes after getting drunk, and then you look like you are going to hit someone. You are more manly than a man, and Kai Dan is still Kai Dan. Who wouldn't be afraid of going on a blind date with you? With your appearance, even a dog on the roadside will get punched by you. Did you forget something? Shizuka Hiratsuka clenched her fist and looked at Bai Yi with a smile, obviously very dissatisfied with Bai Yi's attitude. When she came just now, she had thought about it. Today she would let Bai Yi know what pain is. Teacher, violence is not good. Do you want a can of beer? Stop talking nonsense to me. Beer is prohibited during work, and stop using beer to fool me. Teacher, are you the kind of person who is afraid? And it's a limited amount of dark beer. If you don't drink it, there will be no more. With that, Bai Yi turned and walked to the refrigerator and took out a can of dark beer. This is Shizuka Hiratsuka's favorite beer, but because it is limited every day, she rarely buys it. You are guilty of bribing the teacher. Hiratsuka Shizuka's eyes were erratic, and her heart was a little shaken. In fact, Bai Yi didn't commit any heinous crimes, so there was no need for her to make a big deal out of it. Thinking of this, Hiratsuka Shizuka also took the dark beer from Bai Yi's hand, and then took a big gulp. Sure enough, drinking beer during working hours, such an immoral behavior, plus drinking, such a happy thing, is simply triple happiness. Click. Well, there is evidence of guilt. Teacher, you don't want other people to know the photo of you drinking during working hours, right? Bai Yi was satisfied with the satisfied expression of Hiratsuka Shizuka holding beer in the camera. Listening to Bai Yi's words, Hiratsuka Shizuka subconsciously froze for a moment, and then looked at Bai Yi in disbelief. Are you a devil? Just a joke. I just saw that the teacher looked pretty good just now, so I recorded it. As he said, Bai Yi handed the camera to Hiratsuka Shizuka, and Hiratsuka Shizuka's expression on it was a little satisfied. No, what photo did you take? Is there something wrong with what I took? Of course, it's a big problem. Delete it for me. As she said that, Shizuka Hiratsuka directly pressed the delete button and prepared to delete the photo, but after seeing Bai Yi's puzzled expression, she hesitated for a moment, and finally did not delete the photo. After looking at the photo, she thought to herself that she might have thought too much. Bai Yi must not know. If she deleted it, it would cause Bai Yi's doubts. But when she thought that the photos taken by Bai Yi were so erotic, and they were somewhat similar to the expression she showed after she occasionally did hand exercises, she felt ashamed. We are all older women, and I haven't tasted the sweetness of love yet, and I have to rely on myself every time. Why don't you delete it? Hurry up and go back to class with me. Shizuka Hiratsuka was ashamed and angry, drank the beer in one gulp, and then grabbed Bai Yi and rushed to the school. She would not explain this sentence to Bai Yi. Fungjizaki Academy. The school that originally appeared in the Passerby Heroine now has more than just the original three people, Kasumagaoka Utaha, Sawamura Ariri and Kato Megumi. Similarly, there is a club called the Service Club in the school, and there is also a music club called the Light Music Club, and recently I heard that there are 5 transfers from the next class. Yeah, next door is Beika High School. There are many schools around. In fact, before knowing Kudo Shinichi, Bai Yi always thought this place was heaven. When he just crossed here, he thought about whether he would be with Kasumagaoka Utaha, or with Yukinoshita Yukino, or have a sweet love with Sakurajima Mai, or go to school seriously during the day with Hiratsuka Shizuka and go to school at night. As a result, after Kudo Shinichi appeared, Bai Yi had only one thought: survival. So, he, who was a social bull, turned into a social phobia in a second. You should know that the mortality rate of otaku in Konan is much lower than that of scumbags. Bai Yi-kun, I heard that Mr. Hiratsuka was furious because you skipped class this morning. Are you okay? Xiao Wei, you seem a little disappointed. Bai Yi lay on the table weakly. He was originally thinking about the battle plan, how to make his performance more handsome. He wanted to make his performance perfect. As a result, Shizuka Hiratsuka came directly to his house and took him here to attend class. Actually, I am a little bit evil. Kato Megumi is also a little bit dark-hearted. Although she looks like a saint on the surface, she is not without personality or other tempers. She has what all little girls have, but because her presence is too weak, she has changed a little bit. However, after getting to know Bai Yi and becoming the front and back desk of Bai Yi, Kato Megumi found that her life had changed drastically. Bai Yi was able to notice her and would not ignore her like others. At the same time, because of her more outgoing personality, she also made many friends with her. However, Bai Yi changed later. I don't know what Bai Yi has experienced. His personality seems to be not as outgoing as before, and he is also more homebound. Compared with the past, he seems to be a completely different person. By the way, do you want to go out together tonight? Bai Yi and I haven't had activities together for a long time. Kato Megumi turned her head and asked softly. He hasn't had activities with them for a long time. What's the matter? Who is there? Tonight, I'm afraid there is no time. Although Bai Yi wanted to refuse, he looked at Kato Wei and finally decided to wait for her to finish and then find a reason to refuse. After all, it seemed a bit too cruel to refuse directly before she said anything. Have you heard about the Queen's Tears incident tonight? Yes, the Queen's Tears incident. This has been hyped up a lot, and it was targeted by 3 thieves at the same time. I guess the hottest topic today is this, and even many people come here to admire it. Of course, Wei, I tell you, you must go tonight. It will definitely be very exciting, and there will be unimaginable excitement. Bai Yi changed his previous weak appearance, climbed up from the table, then raised his index finger, and said confidently, and suddenly he realized a problem. Wait. You are not going to ask me to go there. Yeah, not only me, but also Ariri and Shiu are going to go together. Kato Wei nodded and said softly. Tonight, Ariri and Kasumagaoka Utaha are going to go together, one to watch the fun, and the other to find some inspiration for her novel. So, after Kato Megumi proposed and said that she wanted to treat Bai Yi, she got unanimous agreement from the two. Not only Kato Megumi, but also people who were very familiar with Bai Yi in the past found that Bai Yi seemed to be very different recently. And Kato Megumi, who didn't know and also knew that Bai Yi would probably not tell them, was also using this method, hoping to help Bai Yi cheer up and be the same as before. How about Bai Yi? Let's go together. After Kato Megumi finished speaking, she looked at Bai Yi with a glimmer of expectation in her eyes, waiting for his answer. So many people. The entrance of Wugong Art Museum is now surrounded by countless people who come here to admire its reputation. The three thieves have set their sights on the Queen's Tears, and the director of the art museum has even used this to make a gimmick. The police have set up cordons around Wugong Art Museum. In order to prevent thieves from sneaking in, no one is allowed to approach within 100 meters around Wugong Art Museum. Officer Utsumi, our investigation section 2 is in charge here. Please follow our instructions for everything that follows. Sorry, I'm responsible for chasing Cat's Eye. Ahem, I said that there is also the thief Lupin 3 coming over now, and I should be responsible for this matter. Inside Wugong Art Museum, Nakamori Ginza, Utsumi Toshio and Zenigata Yukichi are arguing about who will be in charge of the next command. Among the three of them, one is responsible for catching Kato Kid, one is Cat's Eye, and one is Lupin 3. It just so happened that the three of them bumped into each other. But each of them thought that he was the most suitable. Can you three be quiet? We are responsible for this. Inspector Magyar, are you a little bit? Nakamori Ginza was immediately unhappy. It was the director of the museum who reported the case to us, and the superiors asked us to lead it. And this happened in Beihua, so naturally we are responsible. Magyar Jusen coughed lightly, then looked at Takagi and Sato Mawako and said, you guys get ready, and no flies are allowed to come in next. The superiors had long expected that the three would quarrel over who was responsible, so they let Inspector Magyar take charge of this matter. Sonoko, is it not good for us to go in like this? The helicopter landed directly from the air near the museum, and then Maori Kogoro, Maori ran, Sonoko and the Shinigami Elementary School students came down from the helicopter one by one, watching Sonoko walk straight into the museum. Shaolin also asked with some concern. I heard that people are not allowed to go in around here like this. This is a chance to observe Mr. Kid up close, and I can also see Mr. Kid fighting with several other thieves. Of course I have to come in and watch. Sonoko waved her hand, looking at Shaolin who was still worried, and continued to explain. Don't worry, I have already told someone about this matter, and the police officer in charge of this matter will not object. The money power of the Suzuki family is like this. Conan opened his dead fish eyes, thinking in his heart that this is a corrupt capital. As expected, if you have money, just give a call to the boss and let it go directly. But it was also thanks to Sonoko that he could come in with her. As a detective with a strong sense of justice, Conan naturally wanted to capture all three thieves. Officer Magyar, long time no see. Maori Kogoro waved and greeted, and walked to Officer Magyar with a familiar look. What are you doing here? Inspector Magyar looked at Maori Kogoro with a vigilant look. Recently, he found that Maori Kogoro was very abnormal. Whenever there was a case, there was him. He couldn't help but have a bad feeling in his heart. Of course, I'm here to help you catch the thieves. Don't worry, with my famous detective Maori Kogoro, I will definitely not let them steal the gems. As he said this, Maori Kogoro laughed with his tongue exposed. In fact, he wanted to rely on this incident to make a name for himself. Recently, more and more people have come to him for commissions, but he still wants to make more money. He really likes the feeling of taking on cases. Fortunately, the Little Devil High School detective has not appeared recently. And this time, Maori Kogoro naturally also targeted this incident. The TV station is here. If he can keep the Queen's Tears in this operation and catch the three thieves, he will definitely become famous. By then, there will be more and more cases commissioned to solve and investigate, and the fees will rise, right? Tell me, are you disguised as Kato Kid? Nakamori Ginza went straight up and grabbed Maori Kogoro's face and started pinching it. After fighting with Kid many times, he certainly knew that Kid's disguise was very strong. Asshole, let me go. Mori Kogoro, who was still fantasizing just now, felt a little pain on his face. When he came to his senses, Nakamori Ginza's hands were already tearing his face in various ways. No disguise. Nakamori Ginza breathed a sigh of relief, and then set his sights on Shaolin, Sonoko and others. Mawako, go and verify Shaolin and Sonoko, and Takagi, you are responsible for Conan. Yes, Inspector Magyar received the call that Sonoko would come, but he didn't expect Sonoko to come with Shaolin and her group. But since he is here, just check and confirm that it is not Kid. Here is Shiu, Ariri. After school. After Ariri and Kasumigaoka Utaha declined today's club activities, they rushed to the outside of the school. They saw Baiyi and Kato Megumi waiting for them at the school gate. The moment she saw Bai, Kasumigaoka Utaha's eyes lit up and her pace quickened. Bai-kun, don't you want to date the little girl outside the school this time? Kasumigaoka Shiu crossed her chest and looked at Bai with a somewhat unhappy look. Hey, I'm working part-time. Colleagues at convenience stores can also be said to be your dates. Although he knew that Mr. Shaw said this on purpose, he was a little unable to resist her thoughts. HMPH, you haven't acted with us for a long time. Ying Lily gritted her teeth and looked at Bai Yi angrily. Some time ago, they could feel that Bai Yi seemed to be a little distant from them. This also made Ying Lily panic. The friends that I finally have will alienate me for unknown reasons. She didn't want to lose the friends she finally had. Byakuya-kun, are you in love? There was a trace of scrutiny in Kasumigaoka Shiu's eyes, and she was unhappy with this inexplicable feeling of being alienated. At the same time, she doesn't want to fall in love in the White Knight, at least she wants to fall in love with herself. When she was at her lowest point, it was Bai Yi who comforted herself and accompanied her to revise the manuscript. She didn't want such a gentle boy to be taken away by other girls. But there is one bad thing about this guy, that is, he seems to be a little too gentle. He treats every girl like this, and he can help and care for each other at the right time. If only she could do this to herself, she sighed inwardly. No, I was just busy with some things before. I'm going to set up an office to help solve some problems. I may not work in convenience stores anymore in the future. I just had no choice before, but now Bai Yi doesn't want to continue working. Byakuya-kun, do you have time? Kato Megumi looked at Bai Yi with curious eyes. She had not heard Bai Yi talk about this just now. Besides, does he have time? Help with anything. So, are you interested in helping a girl grow into a woman? Byakuya-kun. Shauka Shiu. What on earth are you, a woman, talking about? Yinglili stared at her with wide eyes and an expression of disbelief. Then she looked left and right. After finding that no one was paying attention, she breathed a brief sigh of relief. Although she has already understood Kasumigaoka Shiu's words of tiger and wolf, she is still a little unable to resist it, even if the person using it is not herself. Humph, would a painter like you still be afraid of saying this? Kasumigaoka Shiu curled her lips disdainfully. Would she not know what Ying Lily's profession is? However, Kasumigaoka Shiu never paid attention to Iri. Even though she knew that Iri kept saying that Bai Yi was her friend, Kasumigaoka Shiu could naturally see the little thoughts in her heart. But she is not afraid of Ying Lily, this tsundere with twin tails cannot be her opponent. So, Bai Yi-kun, what's your answer? Kasumigaoka Shiu no longer paid attention to Iri, but turned her head to look at Bai Yi. If you agree, then put on the stockings with letters and go out with him. Are you going to give it for free? Bai Yi scratched his forehead, feeling a little distressed. The fish pond that he managed with great difficulty cannot be destroyed by Kasumigaoka Shiu. The reason why I stayed away from them in the first place was mainly because I was afraid of being stabbed. If it were a normal daily comic, I wouldn't be afraid at all. But if you have Conan here, you might get stabbed at any time. He is a bit greedy. He likes Shu Kasumigaoka, and he also likes Ariri's twin ponytails. If he catches the twin ponytails that can be used as a steering wheel, he should be able to seize the future, right? It's a pity that some people don't want it. Kasumigaoka Shiu glanced at Bai Yi resentfully. This guy had already made it so obvious, and he just didn't want it. What could she do? It seems that I have to be more proactive. Maybe I can take him to the couple's hot spring together. Then maybe things will fall into place. Why don't we go to the art museum first? Megumi Kato raised her hand, glanced at the time on her watch, and calmly interrupted the conversation between the two. Pointing to the time on her watch, Kato Megumi signaled that if it wasn't over, it would be too late. It's probably overcrowded over there. That's right, let's go to the art museum first. Eerily suffers from the fact that she can't attack and can't control the rhythm, and she doesn't want to watch Kasumigaoka Shiu conquer Byakuya like this. But Kato Megumi's interruption instantly gave Iri a reason. Well done Xiao Wei, you are indeed my best teammate. Iri waved her arms from the bottom of her heart and silently gave Kato Megumi a thumbs up. Hee. Kasumigaoka Shiu glanced at Iri unhappily. This woman is so annoying. He must find an opportunity later when she is not around. Hey, have I disturbed your good deeds, Bai Yi-san? Xiao Wei is really scary now. Have it? Kato Megumi tilted her head and looked at him innocently. But how could Byakuya, who knew Kato Megumi, not know? From Byakuya-kun to Byakuya-san, Kato Megumi knows how to change attitudes. Shrugging, Bai Yi didn't explain too much, because the agreement was indeed to go to the art museum, and in order to get a better location, they chose to take a taxi there. Wugong Art Museum is crowded with people. I can't find a good location. Are there so many people here just to see it? There are people who came here with telescopes. Now even thieves have fans. Come to think of it, Kid has quite a lot of fans. I'm going in. Ah, Ariri looked at Bai Yi in a strange way. How could they get in with so many people? But the next second, seeing Bai Yi just gently pull the door, the people around them also made room for them to go in. Walking along the way, the four of them soon came to the front position, but it was still 100 meters away from the Wugong Art Museum. They waited until late at night. Because of the live broadcast on TV, many people who were originally going to have fun went back to watch the live broadcast at home, and there were fewer people around. Look, the picture inside the Wugong Art Museum appeared. That's the Queen's Tears. Through the TV broadcast, the electronic screen on the building clearly showed the situation inside the art museum. Looking at the Queen's Tears covered by glass, it was there. Around here, fully armed policemen and various high-tech are closely monitoring everything in the art museum. Once someone breaks in, they will not hesitate to take action. Bai Yi, do you think this gem will be stolen? Yes. Bai Yi nodded, and then said, but not this one is fake. How do you know? Eri looked at Bai Yi in surprise. You have a scanner. Can you tell the real from the fake with your eyes? It's very simple. If you put this here and broadcast it live for everyone to see, then Kid and the others will also see it. That is definitely impossible. Do you have a pig brain? Kasumagaoka Shiu looked at Ariri with disgust. Is this woman a pig brain? If you use your brain, you will know that it is definitely impossible to put a real one here. Maybe it is really hidden somewhere. Kasumagaoka Shiu, what are you looking at, woman? Look at you, idiot. I'll fight you. Ari's twin ponytail whip was caught by Kasumagaoka Shiu before it was activated. This trick had no effect on her at all. Bai Yi, who do you think will get it? Or will it be protected? Kato Megumi asked curiously. It was her first time to see this. Maybe it's not the three thieves, nor the police. Kato Megumi thought to herself, is there anyone else who wants to participate? As the clock struck 11:30, a fierce exclamation broke out among the crowd around. Because it means that the preview time of Lupin 3, Kato Kid and Cat's Eye has come, and everyone who is watching now also wants to see who is the strongest among the thieves who are said to have powerful thieves in this world. Chapter 51. How's it going? Did you find anything? Nakamori Jinsan stared at the surveillance camera with his eyes fixed. The bell rings at 11:30 midnight, and the phantom thieves will take away the Queen's Tears before 12 o'clock. During this half hour, everyone's hearts were almost in their throats. Please, can you calm down? Mumu Shisen looked at each other helplessly. Before that, he noticed that each of the three seemed more anxious than the other. It's just a matter of catching a few thieves. Is this necessary? Of course it's necessary, they are world-famous thieves. Is it possible that you are not capable enough? Mumu Shisen said in his heart that it was indeed the first time for him to take over this kind of thing. In his opinion, they were just a few thieves. If they couldn't catch them, where could he put his face? Today he must catch these thieves. But he didn't say this. Although he was confident, if he didn't catch it by then, at least he would have left himself a way out. Conan, what are you looking at? Shaolin curiously approached Conan and looked at Conan, who was staring at the monitor screen intently. She followed his gaze and looked over. I wonder how they're going to get in. Conan looked at Shaolin innocently, but deep down he was still thinking about how the other party would come in under this situation. This was his first contact with the Phantom Thieves. Although he had heard of them before, he was still a little unfamiliar with these things. The surroundings have been controlled, and no one is allowed to come inside. There are also surveillance cameras monitoring everything inside. Any clues will be discovered immediately. In this case, how will the other party sneak in? Haha, don't think about it, you little devil. If you, a little devil, find out, how can the other party be a big thief for so long without being caught? Only my famous detective Mori Kogoro can take action. Mori Kogoro laughed proudly. Today is the day when he, Mori Kogoro, will become famous. You're a fool if you can catch this stupid detective. Conan opened his dead eyes and complained in his heart. If they could really be caught by Mori Kogoro, every one of them would have been caught by the police long ago. Sister, we now have a rough idea of the situation inside. Do we need to take action? Inside the museum, the three Maoyan sisters, who had already sneaked in and escaped the police search, were in a small room, waiting for the opportunity. On a small electronic screen, it was the Queen's tears that was being monitored. Not only did the police place surveillance cameras here, they also placed them in advance. How are things going with Kaido Kid and Lupine III? Lei Shunglei thought for a while, shook his head and said, everyone is watching now. The one who acts first will probably fail. Kaido Kid and the others are most likely waiting, so let's wait first. Just wait and see, it doesn't belong to whoever gets it first. Afterlife Hitomi echoed, don't let me down, you fool. Not far from the art gallery, in a building, a woman was holding a telescope and staring intently at the gems in the art gallery. Mind Fujiko had already thought about it. When Lupine III got this thing, he would swallow it up for himself. All the information about this place was provided by himself. As for betraying Lupine III, wasn't that done casually? At the same time, Kid was also ready. Looking at the clock on his wrist, he was also ready to wait until the time he set before taking action. Before that, he would wait and see. Not ready yet. Are you coming or not? The time has come. On the square. Many people looked at the big screen with some disappointment. After 5 minutes, the interior of the art museum was still safe and sound, without any movement. This made people who were originally planning to watch the chase between robbers, and the robbers and the police a little nervous, of boredom. What do you think? My next book will be inspired by Kaido Girl. Kasumigaoka Shiu tapped her feet on the ground unconsciously, turned her head and looked at Bai Yi and asked. Do you want me to give you my opinion? But when I wrote novels in the past, didn't Bai Yi-kun always give me advice? Otherwise, how could my book be called the most stomach-churning novel? I really didn't expect that a boy like Bai Yi-kun would be so. There are so many plots, it's obvious that I came first, whether it's kissing, hugging, or falling in love with that guy, it's the first time I have someone I like, and I have someone I can be a lifelong friend with. Kasumigaoka Shiu's eyes flashed with thoughtfulness. Have you ever experienced this before, Mr. Byakuya? HMPH, that guy also taught me how to draw comics. Has he also experienced this? Yinglili interrupted Kasumigaoka Shiu's words unconvinced. Don't think that you two are the only ones with a bond. She has it too. Hey, Byakuya-kun, who are you fantasizing about when you think about this kind of thing? Me, or Megumi, or maybe Sakurajima or that woman from Yukinoshita. As he said this, he noticed Iriri's murderous eyes, and Kasumi Zichiu Shiu added exaggeratedly, it can't be Yinglili, right? You. What do you mean it can't be me? What's wrong with me? Iriri waved her fists angrily to give Kasumigaoka Shiu a good look. But what's a little funny is that her hands seem to be a little short. After Kasumigaoka Shiu's hand touches her forehead, she looks like she is punching the air with her fist. It's about to begin. Did Bai Yejin say anything? Kato Megumi, who was next to Bai Yi, turned her head to look at Bai Yi in confusion. She seemed to have heard Bai Yi's murmur just now, but she didn't hear clearly what Bai Yi said specifically. By the way, he should have spoken just now, right? Before Bai Yi could answer, a burst of violent exclamations erupted from the surroundings. Here he is. Finally taking action. Won't you get caught? And who is this? It is different from the impression of Maoyan, Lupine III and Kaido Kid. And the people who appeared on the big screen were completely different from the ones they knew. I'm here uninvited, thank you all Heihan. I'm not the three you were expecting, but I will take away the Queen's tears tonight. On the screen, a man wearing an orange spiral mask and a black and red cloud coat from the Akatsuki organization waved at the screen. He stretched out a finger and lightly touched the tempered glass. Collapse. The glass shattered instantly, and the Queen's tears was held in his hand. Sister, what should I do? Let's take action. In the room, Lai Shanghai and Lai Shangtong exchanged a look, and then prepared to take action. Such a good opportunity. I believe those two guys will not let it go, and they just use this unknown guy to attract firepower. I was still thinking about how to infiltrate, but now, this guy has acted as a shield for their infiltration. It's not that difficult anymore. Tell me, where did that guy come from? No. In the monitoring room, everyone stared at the incredible scene in front of them in stunned silence. Surrounding surveillance can confirm that it is not broken at all. How could the other party come here without knowing it? Conan, where are you going? Hurry over there, that person is gone. Conan was the first to react and rushed out of the control room and ran towards the location of the Queen's tears. After hearing Conan's words, the others immediately reacted and followed him. When I came to the art museum, that person had already disappeared, and the Queen's tears were no longer there. No way. Mumu Shisen wiped the cold sweat from his forehead. Was it just gone? Haha, what kind of monster thief is this? They're just rubbish. If you steal a fake piece, you're still called a big thief. A trace of disdain flashed across the face of the museum director. It seems, he seems to know. Conan took out a gem from a corner with a piece of paper on it, and this gem was obviously the gem that had been taken away by the man in the orange mask. Although I know it's fake, I still want to show you that I'm not any worse than the other phantom thieves, right? Besides, if it's true, I'll take it. Looking at the writing on the note, the librarian's face instantly turned ugly, and then he ran towards the basement without stopping. When he received the notification letter, he put it in the basement as soon as possible. He didn't tell anyone. All the way to the basement, looking at the door that had been opened and the back of the last person leaving in a hurry, everyone followed suit, and this road was obviously leading to the rooftop. On the rooftop, the three Cat-Eye sisters, Lupine III, Kaido Kid and Byakuya stand in 4 directions respectively. Put your hands up, let's catch you without mercy. The silence was broken by the sudden intrusion of people from the Metropolitan Police Department. The door to the rooftop has been closed. Nakamori Ginza looked at the few people with some pride. Today, even if the King of Heaven comes, he will not be able to escape. Ah, this is really troublesome. You clearly know this is the rooftop, why are you bringing gems here? Kid looked at Bai Yi with some distress. In fact, all 5 of them knew the true location of the gem, but none of them took any action. Later, I originally wanted to take advantage of the chaos created by Bai Yi to get the gem. As a result, they were 1 step slower than Bai Yi. After Bai Yi took it away, they immediately followed, and they followed all the way to the rooftop. But fortunately, I can leave by relying on the hang glider. Is Bai Yi also a hang glider? Because the stage has been set up and without the audience, this performance will be a failure. Only the performance will make me at the top. In the basement, you can take the gems and leave. But just leaving like this always felt like something was missing. He longed for attention. Perhaps because he lives in a peaceful era, he actually pursues something different from other Bai Yi. He likes to be sought after by others, and he also enjoys the look of admiration in his eyes. Stage. Prison is your stage. You guys who are pretending to be gods and ghosts, I will take off your masks one by one. Nakamori Ginza looked like he was sure of victory. After watching the TV station flying a helicopter and broadcasting the live broadcast from the air, he felt extremely proud at the moment. Ayoko, look at it, Dad finally caught Kaido Kid this time. Everyone is wearing a mask, a moment of joy before the curtain opens. Please remember me, this is my beginning, I am resurrected from filth and mud, I am a burning green lotus, I am the only beauty. Bai Yi whispered softly, accompanied by a thunder in the sky. Bai Yi clapped his hands and shouted, Arta's explosion. Bang! The clone suddenly exploded, and a cloud of smoke instantly spread around and instantly covered the sight of others. After the smoke dissipated, Bai Yi's figure had long disappeared. In the square, looking at the various people on the big screen, everyone's unbelievable eyes, even Kaido Kid has run to the edge of the building to look for the glider. Bai Yi lowered his head, and stroked the Queen's tears in his pocket with his left hand. Let's go, it's over. Bai Yi took a last look at the screen, then looked at Kasumagaoka Uchiha and the other 2, turned around and left. There is nothing to see anymore. Hey, I feel like you're a good fit for this thief. How about I write a love story between a thief and a writing girl based on you? Kasumagaoka Uchiha quickly followed Bai Yi. In the scene just now, she was inspired. She substituted Bai Yi into the thief just now, and then substituted herself into the writing girl. Since the readers of the previous book said that it was too good, I'll use Bai Yi and myself as the blueprint for this book and write a sweet love story. Bai Yi is not a thief. Eri retorted, looking at Bai Yi's back and muttered. Don't run away here. Bai Yi-kun's words are quite suitable. Kato Megumi covered her mouth and laughed. The three of them quickly followed Bai Yi and quickly occupied his left and right sides. Just run away like this. What to do? Let's go. Reisei Lei, Reisei Hitomi, and Reisei Ai looked at each other, and then the three of them jumped directly from the building. The thief kid on the side was not to be outdone and ran with him. This time, it was really embarrassing. He sent out the invitation letter, but not only did he not get it, but someone else took it away. Before he left, he was even treated with a face by the other party. Lupin, don't try to run away. If you don't run away, you're a fool, right? Lupin 3 threw a smoke bomb on the ground, and then ran away with the glider. Today was really a bad start. The Queen's tears, if he got it, he would make a lot of money again. Thinking that it was taken away by that person, Lupin also remembered Bai Yi in his heart. Next time, he will definitely get back at him. Just ran away like this. Huh. Magyar Jusen turned his head blankly. He went out on his own, but didn't even catch a single person. Officer Magyar, we will probably be on the front page tomorrow. All the police, Kato Kid, Cat's Eye and Lupin 3 will all become the background of that guy. Shiratori Renzaburo stroked his forehead, feeling that tomorrow's news will be very explosive. Uncle Yangshi, who is that guy? Having just experienced failure, the three sisters approached Uncle Yangshi in the next life. They had thought that they would fail in the end, but at most they thought that failure would be at the hands of Kaito Kid and Lu Ban 3. As equally famous thieves, the two of them are definitely not weaker than Maoyan. But he was crushed by an unknown guy in the form of a stepping stone. It was impossible for them to think otherwise. No, it seems to have appeared suddenly. There is no information about that guy on the dark web. Uncle Yangshi shook his head. He was the housekeeper of the Afterlife family. While helping the three sisters manage the industry, he also helped Maoyan obtain information. In most cases, he provided the information himself, and this time it was also his mistake. He had planned the other two, but failed to calculate that someone would suddenly appear. Ah, it's so annoying. I'm being used as a stepping stone by that guy. Afterlife Eye scratched her hair, a trace of displeasure flashed across her face. Oh, the thief industry is getting harder and harder. Afterlife Tears joke that they only became thieves because of some unavoidable reasons. Sister, this is my father's collection. It may have something to do with my father's death. It was taken away by that guy. I'm afraid, we have to get it back, right? Afterlife Tong looked at the still optimistic Afterlife Tears and reminded him. But when I talk about this, I have to get my father's collection back. Now that the Queen's tears have been taken away by the masked man, it will be difficult to get it back later. First, we need to find information about that guy. Lai Sheng shook her head, why didn't she want to? But as far as the current situation is concerned, they have no information about the masked man at all. If they can't even get the information, how are they going to find him and get the Queen's tears back? But judging from the previous situation, that guy will definitely continue to commit crimes in the future, so we still have a chance. The reason why Tears of the Next Life is optimistic is actually because the masked man will still come out to steal in the future. As long as he takes action, he will definitely be able to catch the opponent's flaw. Yes, that guy seems to be eager to be noticed. His starting point seems to be a bit of an artist. Ah, crazy artist. Lai Shengtung and Lai Shanghai echoed. They had heard all Bai Yi's words before. This kind of person will not just commit a crime once and then disappear, he will definitely continue to commit crimes. So, let's do a good job of investigating later. If there is a failure, we must let him know how powerful our Cat's Eye is later. Lei Sheng nodded, looking at the two sisters who had cheered up, she felt relieved in her heart. It's not scary to lose. What's scary is that you won't be able to recover after losing. Next time, their Maoyan will not lose again. Lupin, you fool, you just wasted the information I got for you. In the abandoned building, Mine Fujiko looked at Lupin with an angry look. He had already given the information, but he still failed. He had already thought about what he would do after getting the gem. No, there is no information about the main guy. Lu Ban 3 defended himself. It was obviously because he didn't have Bai Yi's information. If he had Bai Yi's information, it would have been impossible for him to fail. He didn't play by the rules. We all sent out invitations, but he didn't. We were in the dark and he was in the open. It's normal to fail. Fujiko Mine stared at Lupine, and the excuse she came up with was very fresh and refined, but she really couldn't find a reason to talk about Lupine. Because it was indeed his failure to give Lupine information this time that led to this incident. Forget it, you failed anyway, I'm leaving. Fujiko Mine glanced at Lupine, then put on her sunglasses and turned around and left. She also knew that this matter could not be entirely blamed on Lupine, but she had placed high hopes, but Lupine actually failed, and the person who failed turned out to be an unknown person. But it doesn't matter. Although it failed this time, the headline tomorrow will be Lupine and not myself. At the same time, Kuroba Kato elsewhere was summarizing why he failed today. The more he thought about it, the more distressed he became and he scratched his hair. This was the first failure in history. Hateful. Hey, it's me. Did you do that thing today? On the other end of the phone, Jin's unique hoarse voice also had a hint of disbelief. Jin took the time to watch today's live broadcast. Originally, she wanted to see if this guy was suitable for cooperation. Based on the principle that if you don't even dare to go there, you must kill him next time you see him. After watching today's live broadcast, he still couldn't figure out one thing: how Bai Yi left there. It's me, I've got the Queen's tears. With that said, Bai Yi took the phone off his ear, took a picture of the Queen's tears, and then sent a MMS to Jin. Seeing the Queen's tears in the photo, Jin was silent. Is it really him? Very good, the mission is completed. Money. Bai Yi is simple and clear, $2 million, should it be settled? Account. After telling him to use an anonymous account, Bai Yi received the money quickly. Okay, if there's nothing else, I'll hang up. After receiving the money, Bai Yi was ready to hang up the phone. He had no idea of calling the elders at night. Where's the stuff? Not big brother. You just asked me to steal this thing and gave me 2 million. You didn't ask me to give you this thing and give me 2 million more. Just because I accepted the task doesn't mean I want to give it to you. Do you understand the inequality? Do you want to take advantage of others? Jin's face instantly darkened. Is this guy kidding himself? Please, are you sick or am I sick? This thing is worth more than 10 million. If you offer me 2 million to get it, why don't I just sell it on the black market? You leave it here as a middleman to make the difference. First, you didn't provide me with any information, and second, you didn't provide me with any other help. Do you think I'm a fool for giving you tens of millions of dollars for nothing? Bai Yi felt that Ginju must be crazy, otherwise he wouldn't be able to make this request. I co-authored something worth more than 10 million US dollars, but only got 2 million from you. Brother, I apply to challenge him in a duel. Too arrogant. Vodka looked at his eldest brother's gloomy face from the side and immediately had a heartfelt thought. I want to appraise this gem. If it is what we need, I can buy it for you at the original price. If not, then you can keep it yourself. The 2 million will be regarded as the reward for this task. Jin was silent for a while, and under Vodka's shocked eyes, he said something that even he didn't dare to think about. It seems that my previous thinking was too simple. The value of this gem is indeed more than 2 million. What the other party said was not wrong. Okay, but it will cost 100,000. Are you even darker than me? Jin's face became even more gloomy, and the next second, Jin hung up the phone. It costs 100,000 just to look at it, why don't you die? It's really ugly, Jin. The bar door was pushed open, and Belmont walked in from the door. He casually placed his motorcycle helmet on the bar. Looking at Jin, who had a gloomy look on his face, he couldn't help but joke, it's really rare. Belmont, I need you to do me a favor and grab a gem for me. Jin turned to look at Belmont. He didn't want to get into trouble with Bai Yi for the time being. The other party had some abilities, so he asked Belmont to take action and try to see if he could get the gem first. What, did you, Jin, watch the showdown between thieves today and decide to become a thief? Belmont had just returned from the scene. She was originally planning to go back after finishing her work, but when she was passing by the square, she was attracted by the duel on the big screen. So I stopped and watched it for a while, and I have to say that the way the masked man performed was really surprising. No, brother wants the Queen's tears. Aren't we all looking for that gem lately? Maybe the Queen's tears are it. Vodka explained from the side. That guy traded with me to steal, but he asked for 10 million. I don't want to break up with him now, so if you can, help me steal it. Jin explained calmly. Oh, I understand, I want the goods, but I don't want to pay the money, right? A flash of understanding flashed across Belmode's face. If you say it like this, then you'll understand. Do you have any information? Nothing now. Then how can I steal it for you? Belmode is numb. Co-author, you didn't know anything, so you let yourself steal it. Does he think he is a god? I will give you information later. Aren't you going to America? Not going. Belmode shook her head. She had come back this time, and she would not go back again. Someone else would be responsible for America. Okay, let's go. Jin nodded, and then stood up to leave. He didn't want to stay with this woman, Belmode, for a long time. And there are still things to keep an eye on in the laboratory. Back in the laboratory, looking at Jin's expression, Shirley muttered, as if someone who didn't know better thought someone owed him money. How's the medicine going? The research on APTX 4869 has not been completely completed, and all current stages are still fatal. This is not what the organization wants. Not finished yet. What about the last investigation? Is Kudo Shinichi dead? In the park, Kudo Shinichi, who was fed APTX 4869 by himself, is still in a state of uncertainty until now. Already dead. Miyano Shiho lowered his head and couldn't help but have a strange look in his eyes. Keep experimenting, Shirley. Jin nodded, then turned and left. Experiment. I'm going to escape from hell soon. Miyano Shiho raised his head and looked at Jin. Maybe Jin thought he didn't know anything. Her sister is dead, and she will not do any more experiments for the organization. She wants to leave here. If she can't leave, then she will die. Anyway, her sister is dead, and there is no one in this world that she can miss. The next day, the headlines on the front page of the entertainment section were all about yesterday's battle between thieves, especially the fact that the police actually watched helplessly as several thieves all left safely, which was even more exaggerated by the newspapers. I knew that guy was actually called the most artistic thief in the new era. A thief is a thief. He actually stepped on us and became famous. Mawako Sato picked up the newspaper and saw the various boasts about the masked man and the thieves' remarks that promoted artistry. She almost couldn't hold it back. There's nothing you can do about it. It will make you more angry if you check out the internet. Now many people are saying that our Metropolitan Police Department is incompetent. And that guy, like Kid, has also gained a lot of fans this time. Some people even begged him the same clothes. Shiratori Rinzaburo stroked his forehead. Yesterday, he predicted that it would be like this. Now it seems that what he thought was too simple. Because he took away the gems under the help of 3 thieves and even tricked the police, the masked man's popularity soared very quickly. And also because of the mystery of the masked man and the last words left behind, these are all complementary to each other. But this is a slap in our face. I must catch that fool with my own hands. Mawako Sato vowed that she must bring the masked man to justice. What about the big thief? Does this trample on their justice? What's more, he is a thief, and he is actually being sought after. Could it be that this generation has become like this? Sato Mawako will never allow this to happen. She didn't catch it yesterday, but she will definitely be able to catch Byakuya next time. But we are not responsible for this. Takagi Wataru on the side raised his hand weakly and reminded him that they were in charge of criminal cases. Catching thieves didn't seem to have much to do with them, right? I'll apply to Officer Megure right now. From now on, I will give priority to arresting that guy. Everything is for justice, as expected of Officer Sato. Shiratori Rinzaburo looked at Mawako Sato's resolute appearance, and in an instant he felt his love rising a little more, and decided that he would also apply with Officer Megure. I'm the one making all the headlines. It looks like the first performance was a success. Bai Yi was very satisfied with today's front page headlines. He felt ashamed that he had thought about what he should say for so long. He can't wait to start the next show. But before that, he also needed to prepare the affairs of the office. Now that I have money, I want to spread my reputation and let people know that there is such a firm. Just call it Wanshiwuwu, and then spend money to promote it. I hope there will be some interesting things next. I uploaded the Wanshiwu app, found several streaming companies, and spent money to advertise my Wanshiwu on the internet. At the same time, a girl in the school was looking at the advertisement and fell into deep thought. Daily Bai. Oh, it's really difficult to win a lottery in this world. After completing the first performance, I originally thought that I had changed the plot, at least preventing Maoyan from stealing the queen's tears, and that I would have a chance to win a lottery. After drawing the magic constitution, he was looking forward to the subsequent draws, but unfortunately this change did not seem to be recognized. Naruto Byakuya. Major change, maybe if you kill the cat's eye, it will be considered a major change, right? Pirate Byakuya. Just kill Conan, it is definitely a major event. In the world of Kekshue, the timeline is chaotic because of the existence of Conan. If you want to make major changes, you only need to kill Conan. Monster Bai Yi. The heroine, you have so many heroines, one of them can be regarded as a major change in the plot, right? In fact, the plot of the everyday world is best changed. As long as you keep changing the fate of those girls, it's no better than them. If he had a lot of strange powers, then so many changes would be enough for him to gain a lot. Daily Bai. That's right. I have finally found my own path. It feels so good to be watched by everyone. In the everyday world, after possessing supernatural power, he was actually a little confused. Now he also understands what he wants in this world. Zombie White Knight. Dream. It's like he wants to revitalize the Shenxiao sect. In the beginning, this was not his dream, but when he became the head of the Shenxiao sect after the decline of the Shenxiao sect, he also felt a sense of responsibility. Among all the Bai who joined the chat group, everyone knew very well that Bai who only had the daily world might indeed have no goals, especially after possessing power. The king of fighters Byakuya. Brother, stop bragging, let's quickly practice the 8 gates of Dunjia. We are already in the 3rd gate. Try your best to get to the 8th gate as soon as possible. After educating my Shiranui last time, he felt the importance of strength. Especially the confused look in my Shiranui's eyes. She was no match for her yesterday, but she was able to suppress my Shiranui the next day. She never understood why it suddenly became like this. Moreover, there are big snakes and other existences in his world. If he doesn't practice, the follow-up really has nothing to do with him. Daily Bai. Okay, I have a commission here, wait until I solve the problem before practicing. There are thousands of registered users in the backend of Wanshiwu app, but most of them just check it out and don't leave any messages in the backend. Some people left messages to Bai Yi about trivial things, such as going to beat up the 3rd grade classmate next door because the classmate often bullied them, offering a large reward to help him bully him back, and asking Huang Mao to go to the mother of the person who bullied him. Bai Yi stared at the mission request with wide eyes. He hesitated for a long time before agreeing. In the end, Bai Yi's integrity defeated his own evil. He is not that kind of person. How could you do such a thing? You didn't decide to reject it after seeing the photo. Do you believe there are ghosts in this world? A message attracted Bai Yi's attention. Are there ghosts in this world? Bai Yi has never met him, but since he has integrated so many worlds and has magic, he can believe it even if there is Dragon Lady Bai Yi. So, have you met a ghost? Bai Yi started talking to the other party out of curiosity. Since the other person kept asking him whether he believed in ghosts, he was also very curious about how the person on the other end met ghosts. I have met it, so do you believe there are ghosts in the world? Believe. The other end of Wanshiwu app. A flash of excitement flashed in Yotsuya Miko's eyes, but there was also some hesitation in her heart the next second. Although Bai Yi believed what she said, she was also a little scared, because Janzi knew very well that once the ghost knew that she could see the other person, she would be in danger. So she wasn't sure whether the person on the other end of the app was really a human. Then what do you think you should do if you were haunted by a ghost? Mionzi suppressed the excitement in his heart and continued to test. Kill. Ah, can it still be killed? Janzi was stunned for a moment, originally thinking that the other party would pretend to not see it. If this is the case, then Janzi will only think that the other person can see ghosts like him, but he doesn't know how to solve it. But Bai Yi's words seem to be slightly different from what he thought. So is it really possible to kill ghosts? Janzi's excitement can no longer be concealed. If she can really kill the ghost, can she? What method was used? Of course you can, as long as you have the ability to kill ghosts, then you can kill ghosts. Why don't you leave it here? Janzi complained in his heart, and at the same time hesitated whether to ask for help. Need any help? If you need to provide help, then you need to pay remuneration. The remuneration is based on the difficulty of the task. Remuneration must be given after the task is completed. But if there are special circumstances, such as the client regrets, I do not need to continue the task. As long as I accept the task, even if I regret it later, I will still be paid. No matter whether there is a ghost or not, as long as the other party entrusts you to accept the task, then the contract between the two parties will be established. You have to pay whether you do it or not. The difference between doing it is that you will get it done. Looking at the other party's message, Janzi muttered in her heart, money. She has some pocket money, and she doesn't know if it is enough. Can it really be solved? Of course, if it can't be solved later, I don't want a penny. Ghost, right, Bai Yi has so many abilities to solve it casually, and even if he doesn't use his abilities, he can easily solve it by asking Bai Yi in the world of death to lend him his Zanpakuto. And Bai Yi has never seen a ghost. If there are ghosts in this world, it would be really interesting. For this task, he is a little interested. Then are you free now? Janzi hesitated for a while, and finally decided to trust the other party once. There shouldn't be a ghost who would be so bored as to create an app to kill himself, right? And from what the other party said before, it seems that the other party really has two brushes to dare to say so. Of course, you send me your location, or come to my office, we can talk. After agreeing on a place to meet later, Janzi chose a cafe and asked her to go to the office. She was a little scared, although she had thought about it before, whether she should go to the gods to see. Since there are ghosts, there should be gods or people who can solve ghosts. And today, after seeing the Wanshiwu app, she also downloaded it to see if there is really someone who can help her solve these problems. Cafe. Janzi looked at the people passing by one. I'm so sorry, there was a traffic jam when I came here, I didn't wait long, and you and I made an appointment, right? Bai Yi looked at the back in front of him, touched the back of his head a little embarrassedly, although he could use the thunder fruit to move here instantly, but as a person in the daily world, Bai Yi still enjoyed some commuting that should be in the daily world. So, he got stuck in traffic on the road as expected. After coming here, he saw that someone was waiting for him. It's okay, I just got here too. Jizzy turned her head and looked at Bai Yi. After she was sure that Bai Yi was not unusual, she relaxed a little and stood up and said. She had not been here for long. In fact, she was a little nervous before she came, but she didn't care about it when she thought that she had made an appointment with the other party. Yotani Miko, a girl you can see. The shock in Bai Yi's eyes flashed away, and he returned to normal in an instant. At the same time, he was ecstatic. Because this ordinary world seems to be not ordinary, it seems that there are some things that I am looking forward to. If it were before, I would probably really want to die. Not only are there death gods, but there are even ghosts. There is no safe place anymore, but it is different now. Now I have fun. Daily Bai Yi, Yotani Miko. Yotani Miko. It seems that there is supernatural power here. Interesting, it's so interesting. Zombie Bai Yi. Please draw a yin-yang eye, let us draw the yin-yang eye of GNZ. What is a surprise? This is a surprise. Although you can use Taoism or other methods to make yourself see ghosts, it is indeed a bit difficult without yin-yang eyes. If yin-yang eyes are on ordinary people, they will be as troublesome as GNZ, but if yin-yang eyes are on people who practice Taoism, it will be like adding wings to a tiger, and yin-yang eyes have a bonus for Taoism. Daily Bai Yi. Do you still say that yin-yang eyes is an ability or a physique? Zombie Bai Yi. It can be considered an ability, and it can be considered a physique. In short, if we draw it, we will probably have the ability of yin-yang eyes. Pirate Bai Yi. Then are the eyes in the world of death considered yin-yang eyes? The world of death is full of spirits, so doesn't this also count as seeing ghosts? Zombie Bai Yi. This is different. The death god in the world of death and the ghosts in our world are not the same concept at all. Just like Bai Yi in the daily world could not see ghosts before, it was actually because he could not see or did not have the yin-yang eyes, but he could probably feel that the magnetic field around him was different. Ghosts are composed of various negative emotions, which are a combination of disasters and lesions. People will be affected by ghosts if they stay with ghosts for too long, but this will not happen in the world of death. Different worlds naturally have different ability systems. Each world has its own rules. Daily Bai Yi. Let me try. Actually, I am not saying that I can't see it, but I have never met it before. I will see if I can see it when I meet it. Death God Bai Yi. Use my power, you can see it. Although the composition is different, it is still simple to see ghosts. Zombie Bai Yi. Yes, you can see it, but you need to maintain it all the time. If you can draw the yin-yang eyes, it will be more convenient to kill ghosts. In the end, it is still the god of death, just like these Taoist priests, even if they cross the world's ability system, they can see it. Zombie Bai Yi. This is cow's tears, you can wipe it on your eyes and you can see ghosts. The same can be done with other powers. Maybe your magic constitution can also let you see it. In short, maybe I said it wrong before. You haven't encountered it before. It is true that I think the problem is too complicated. Daily Bai Yi. Okay, I'll complete the task first, and I'll continue to investigate later. Since there is Zhanzi, I feel that the urban legends that have been rumored in our world before should also exist, right? Tomi, Sadako, Kayako, and Hachishiku-sama. I feel that this world seems to be too simple as I thought. After leaving the chat group, Bai Yi was also excited. The ability of the god of death does give him the power to see ghosts, but Bai Yi still prefers cow tears. After all, it can be seen without consuming anything. Sorry, I was a little distracted just now, so you are the one who can see ghosts, right? Well, do you have any solution? Zhanzi nodded, looked at Bai Yi, and became a little worried. Too young, even looks like he is the same age as me. Can he really solve the ghost? If Bai Yi has no ability in the future, or even can't see, I'm afraid he will be killed by Bai Yi if I take Bai Yi with me. Yes, but this is only temporary, because your eyes can see ghosts, right? Once the ghosts find out that you can see ghosts, they will attack you, so the fundamental reason is not to help you get rid of one or two ghosts, but to get rid of the troubles caused by your eyes. Since he knew the plot and Zhanzi's situation, Bai Yi did not hide it and confronted her directly. Zhanzi's biggest trouble comes from these eyes. If the rule of the scientific world is time chaos, then the rule of the world where girls can see is that there is a power that does not belong to this world, that is, ghosts. These ghosts will not be seen by people at ordinary times, but if someone awakens the yin-yang eyes, they can see them, but as a price, he cannot reveal that he can see ghosts. After listening to Bai Yi's words, Zhanzi stood up from his seat. Bai Yi was right. All the strange things he encountered recently were because of his eyes. After being able to see ghosts, Zhanzi felt that her life was completely messed up. She has tried her best to hide that she can see ghosts. But she also knew that this was not a long-term solution, but she couldn't dig out her eyes, right? The man in front of her revealed her current situation, which made Zhanzi's hope grow. He should be able to do it, right? Zhanzi took a deep breath, looked at Bai Yi nervously and asked, so do you have a way to help me solve this problem? Unless you have the ability, it is impossible to solve it permanently. If you kill a ghost today, you will still be haunted in the future. You already have the ability to see another world. Bai Yi shook his head and expressed sympathy for Mianzi's experience. For ordinary people to have yin and yang eyes, it is simply a disaster. You can see ghosts, but you can't deal with them. Once the ghost discovers that you can see the other person, you will die. So, is it the problem with these eyes? A wry smile flashed across Zhanzi's face. In fact, it wasn't just her eyes. She could even hear the ghost talking. Every time she behaves strangely, the ghost's terrifying voice will appear in her ears, visible or invisible. Yes, you should also know that those ghosts are not only the same as what you see, but sometimes they even disguise themselves as humans. If you don't pay attention, you will talk to them. If you can't explain it, then you are in danger. Quote. That's right, Mianzi nodded, and then quickly asked, are you the same as me? The last time I queued up with Shalwa, she was in the ghost row. Thinking about that experience, it was really scary. No, I can't see ghosts. Unlike you, I need to use some other methods. Without using abilities and props, Byakuya is invisible, which is a little different from Miko. This permanent yin and yang I may be a burden to her, but to Bai Yi now, it is not. First of all, I can deal with ghosts, but I haven't tried to deal with ghosts remotely. Can I do an experiment with you? Of course, don't worry, I will watch you in the dark. Once you encounter it's dangerous, I will show up as soon as possible to help you deal with the ghost. Bai Yi wanted to conduct an experiment on Miko to see if the ghosts in this world would be affected by the talisman. Bai Yi in the zombie world gave him some talismans. If they could work across worlds, it would be much easier to solve the problem of Miko. After all, the ability of the god of death is indeed effective in killing ghosts, but he will not be by Miko's side at all times, so the talisman in the zombie world will be a better choice. Let's do an experiment on her. Although he always felt that something was wrong, Mionzi also understood that he seemed to have no choice but to trust Bai Yi. Recently I have been tortured crazy by these ghosts. She had tried her best to pretend she couldn't see them, but these ghosts were around her all the time, and she felt like she had a soul-sucking physique. Then what do? You take this talisman and find a place with ghosts. You can pretend you can't see the other person and just put the talisman on it and try. With that said, Bai Yi took out the talisman, placed it in front of Mionzi, and told her how to use the talisman. Looking at the talisman in front of him, Mionzi pondered for a while, feeling that it seemed very similar to the plot of the TV series he had seen. And Bai Yi looks very professional, and it seems that he can give it a try. He just needs to pretend that he can't see the ghost, and then stick the talisman on it. Jianzi silently cheered herself up. If possible, she might not need to be afraid of ghosts in the future. This is worth trying. Good. Jianzi just thought about it for a while and immediately decided to agree to Bai Yi's proposal. Okay, here's this for you, let's go. As he spoke, Bai Yi wiped cow tears on his eyes. Daily Bai Yi. We have already started taking action, the next step is to see if the talisman is of any use. The power that spans the world. There is no bottom in the White Knight. Zombie White Knight. It's probably all possible. After all, the composition of ghosts is pretty much the same in every world, except for the god of death. He's not in a hurry, it shouldn't be a big problem. Biochemical Bai Yi. It would be great if the talisman could deal with zombies. After arriving in Raccoon City, although the T-virus has not broken out yet, he feels much better now. The mansion has also been bombed, and Marcus's leech virus has most likely been leaked. It is inevitable that the T-virus will infect Raccoon City. Next, he can only lurk, and his mission will most likely be considered a failure. The next step is to capture the G-virus. Now that he is here, he has to take action on the G-virus that William is researching. Naruto Byakuya. You don't need this at all in your world, right? Besides, those rocket launchers over there are useless to you. The classic bazooka in the biochemical world. There's nothing that one rocket launcher can't solve. If there is, then use another one. Biochemical Bai Yi. You don't understand, my mission here is not over yet, and there is another mission for me over there. I am really annoyed to death, but who told me to be such a responsible person? Although he didn't want to do the task, his sense of responsibility prevented him from refusing. After all, since I chose to join Interpol and carry out missions for world peace and become a person in the shadow, I should be prepared. Pirate Byakuya. What mission? Kidnap King Ada. Biochemical Bai Yi. I wouldn't complain about this mission. It seems that I was asked to investigate a place called Rex Research Institute. I don't understand it, but it is a bit familiar. I seem to have heard of it somewhere. It's another place for research. Anyway, Bai Yi discovered that there are many research institutes in this world. And this name felt inexplicably familiar to him, but he still couldn't figure out what it was. Pirate Byakuya. Isn't it Umbrella's Research Institute again? Since there is an umbrella company, it is not surprising that there is a research institute here. Biochemical White Knight. Not very clear, I'll check it out later. Anyway, when the incident in Raccoon City is over, I'm going to go there to investigate. And I also discovered some very magical things recently. A tyrant disappeared in front of me. It was swallowed up by a whirlpool, and something like claws was caught in it. I always feel like my world is not far from destruction. There are more and more outrageous things happening. Zombie White Knight. Am I not dead by daylight? Biochemical White Knight. Who knows? Anyway, I'm investigating every day now, forget it. I'll leave it to you first. Anyway, I will tell you what happens next. If you need help, I won't be polite. After saying that, Bai Yi in the biochemical world also went offline. Routine Bai. Brothers are quite busy, so I'll go check out the situation there first, and report any problems at any time. Following Mionzi all the way, Bai Yi discovered that the magnetic field had also changed, and there seemed to be a very strange magnetic field on Mionzi's body, attracting the surrounding ghosts. No wonder she hadn't seen a ghost before. It turned out that she didn't attract ghosts, but rather saw her. It seemed that since she had yin and yang eyes, ghosts liked to come to her very much. And according to the rules of the world and invisible girls, the reason why ghosts haunt people or creatures is because they have obsessions, parasitism, or other reasons. In short, they need a reason, rather than haunting them for no reason. On the rocking chair in the park, a little ghost is sitting on the swing and playing by himself. Johnsy mustered up her courage, pretended not to see the kid, grabbed the talisman tightly, and subconsciously glanced at Bai Yi behind her. After seeing Bai Yi still following, she couldn't help but feel relieved in her heart. Perhaps, at this time, only Fu Lu and Bai Yi behind him were the sources of his sense of security. In the past, she was eager to hide from ghosts, but now she has to face it on her own, which is also a challenge for Mionzi. He comforted himself that he was fine, mustered up the courage, and walked up to the little ghost. The moment Mionzi approached, the little ghost's neck suddenly stretched out. At the same time, the twisted expression and the penetrating voice almost made Mionzi stop tensing up. Standing still, biting her lip, Miko tried her best to not look so abnormal. He took out the talisman in his hand. Before the talisman could get closer, the kid felt a very uncomfortable feeling and wanted to run away. But just as the kid made a move to escape, Johnsey's hand moved a step faster and directly attached the talisman to the kid's body. The next second, a flame burst out from the kid's body and burned his body. The miserable scream did not last for a second and was extinguished by the talisman in an instant. The expressions of the people around her were as usual, and they seemed not to have seen this scene, but only Mionzi, who was sweating coldly in panic at the beginning, but now she had already breathed a sigh of relief in her heart, and at the same time she understood that Bai Yi could really deal with ghosts. The talisman just now could actually kill a ghost instantly. It seems that the talismans are useful, but the talismans still need to be painted, and Mionzi's physique is more attractive to ghosts. I am afraid that even if I give her a few, they will be consumed quickly. And if you want to harvest the wool from Miko, you can only start at a few points. Is there a high probability that it will be the fox? Quote. A major plot change. After Bai Yi went through some previous things, he probably figured out the trick. Do you still have the talisman just now? I can pay for it. Johnsy hurriedly ran to Bai Yi. After killing the ghost for the first time, Johnsy already had the idea of buying a large number of talismans with Bai Yi. Your problem can't be solved by buying a talisman. Haven't you noticed? No ghosts have come to me all the way, but ghosts are always attracted to you. You seem to be positioned by ghosts. That's right. This is unreasonable. Johnsy attracts ghosts, just like Conan's death physique. People die wherever she goes. There are ghosts wherever she goes. Then what should I do? Brother, how about I become your disciple? After hearing what Bai Yi said, Johnsy also discovered that his physique was indeed somewhat supernaturally attractive. It seems that some talismans really can't solve their dilemma. But what can be done? How about becoming a disciple with Bai Yi? As long as he learns the ability of this talisman, he will no longer need to be afraid of ghosts. I have no intention of accepting a disciple at the moment, and you may not be able to learn it. First of all, the number of talismans is 1 million. Ah, so expensive. Mionzi originally thought that he could afford it, but now it seems that he is overthinking it. And I don't necessarily want to sell it. Drawing talismans requires a lot of energy. However, I currently need a secretary to help me handle some chores. If you are willing to help me, I can kill some of the things that are hanging around you every day. Ghost, I'll give you another talisman at the same time, so you can use it when you are in real crisis. Bai Yi looked up and down at Miko, and suddenly thought of a question. He felt that he could use Miko's physique to attract spirits and get some ghosts for him to kill. His physique may not be like that of Janzi and the god of death, who can attract some special things wherever they go. So if he ties these guys to his side, it will be convenient for him to contact these events later. As long as he changes the major plot later, he will get rewards. So he should contact Conan later. Hongfang himself should try to contact him. Janzi originally planned to grit his teeth and see if Bai Yi would allow him to buy a loan. But after hearing Bai Yi's words and the look he looked at, wouldn't he want to attack him? Don't get me wrong, I'm not a good person. I mean, I guarantee with my personality that I only let you do secretary work, and I'm very interested in your physique. Keeping you by my side is actually to help you attract some ghosts to me. What a perverted reason. Janzi complained in his heart that other people wanted to stay away from ghosts, but Bai Yi wanted to meet ghosts. And were you serious about what you said at the beginning? But I still need to go to school on weekdays. Janzi grabbed her hands a little embarrassedly and said. She still needs to go to school during the day. Just come at night. After Bai Yi said that, Janzi's eyes were wrong. Come at night, and still a secretary? Are you hiring a secretary or something else? I can't do it. You can. No, I haven't done it yet, and I also think that this kind of thing can't be used as an exchange. Although I want to live, this kind of thing should be done after cultivating feelings. You come to organize files for me, serve me tea and water, maintain the app, and cultivate feelings with you. By the way, do you think I want to threaten you with this matter? Bai Yi suddenly realized that Janzi might have misunderstood his meaning. It turns out that the two of them are communicating across channels. After listening to Bai Yi's words, Janzi suddenly raised her head and looked at Bai Yi's surprised eyes, and her little face instantly turned red like a monkey's butt. Indeed, she had misunderstood before. Although she did have a strong desire to survive, she didn't want to trade it. She had never been in love before. Before she had the yin-yang eyes, she was actually a little girl who longed for love and expected a sweet love, at least to give it to the person she liked, right? I'm not so mean. If I need to rely on beautiful girls to sell their bodies as a threat, this is not my style. Sorry, I misunderstood you. Janzi lowered his head, and a trace of shame flashed through his heart. He thought Bai Yi was too vulgar. How could a master like him have such a dirty idea? It's okay. When will you wear a secretary outfit and come and see? Remember to wear stockings. Inside the Wanshi house, Janzi was wearing a secretary outfit awkwardly, with black stockings on her lower body. This kind of mature outfit was something she dared not think of at her age. She had always thought that Bai Yi was a gentleman before, and she had misunderstood Bai Yi. Sure enough, she was still too young. Janzi, clean up here first, and then pack up the things here. I'm going out for a meal. I'll bring you something for you to eat. Bai Yi looked Janzi up and down. What is a beauty to behold! Looking carefully, it seems that except for her not particularly good figure, everything else is very good. Especially when the JK girl was dressed as a secretary, the other party's slightly shameful expression made Bai Yi feel a different feeling. This is the temperament that the old oil sticks who have been in the society for many years do not have. No wonder those bosses in the previous life liked to recruit college student secretaries. Sure enough, this contradictory temperament is really a test for cadres. I'll just have a random lunch. Although she had labeled Bai Yi as a pervert in her heart, Janzi still kept a low profile. She came here to work, and although Bai Yi looked at her, he didn't have that kind of perverted expression. He didn't touch her either, so Janzi didn't say much. But why did she feel like she was here to do odd jobs? Looking at the mess around, Janzi couldn't imagine that if she wasn't there, this office would probably be in a mess. Okay, Bai Yi nodded, then went out to eat, and bought a lunchbox with meat and vegetables for Janzi. Back to the Wanshiwu, Bai Yi opened the door and saw Janzi kneeling on the ground, with his back to him, tidying up the table. From this angle, Bai Yi finally understood why there was such a stuck plot, and he really wanted to pay tribute to those teachers. As the boss back, Janzi twisted her body and stepped out from under the table. She turned her head. The dust stains on her face and the headscarf she wore looked like the characters in the housekeeper games she had played. Janzi, are you almost done cleaning up? Let's eat first. Bai Yi handed the lunchbox in his hand to Johnzi. Yes, thank you, boss. I sorted out a lot of garbage before and threw it away for you. There is also a courier box here. It seems to be for you. I saw that you didn't open it, so I took it out for you. Johnzi handed Bai Yi a courier box with the delivery address of the Wanshiwu app written on it. It was obviously sent to the Wanshiwu. Strange, my Wanshiwu hasn't been open for long, and someone sent me a courier. Intra-city courier. Bai Yi touched his chin, and a thought flashed in his eyes. Since the name of the Wanshiwu was filled in, not Bai Yi's name, it means that the item was originally sent to the Wanshiwu. Never mind, let's take a look first. No one will send me a bomb, right? Thinking of this, Bai Yi directly opened the box, and there was only a videotape lying quietly inside. Ah, boss, did you buy that kind of movie online? How about I avoid it? After seeing the videotape, Johnzi didn't think much, but after seeing the cover, Johnzi's face became strange. Miss Secretary, you don't want to lose your job, do you? Your husband Ryosuke is on the layoff list. Ah, Secretary, isn't that me? And this cover is very embarrassing. In a dormitory, what items were taken? If you choose 2 words from this pile of nonsense, Johnzi dare not think about it. Johnzi's head was smoking, thinking of her identity, and seeing this CD, she suddenly realized that her situation seemed very dangerous. But this CD said that she was married, and she was not married yet, so it shouldn't be. Or is it that marriage is just Bai Yi's task because he likes that kind of tune? Huh, I didn't buy it. Who sent me this? I must criticize it severely. They actually sent me this kind of movie. Bai Yi put the CD into the computer with a critical look. He wanted to see what kind of plot this was. That. Johnzi's legs were a little weak, and she wanted to run, but she always felt as if her whole body was drained of strength. No, I can't stay here any longer. If I stay here, will something bad happen later? Johnzi forced her feet to move, but before Johnzi left, a dry well in the picture also attracted her attention. It doesn't seem to be that kind of movie. Why does this scene look a bit eerie and weird? If it is that kind of movie, it shouldn't start like this, shouldn't it be a passionate music? Then, a pair of hands stretched out from the dry well, and then Bai Yi looked at Johnzi weirdly. This videotape records the process of a girl being murdered, and this is also the famous Sadako videotape. Anyone who watches this video will die in 7 days. The only way to break the curse is to show it to other people, and then the curse will be transferred. He is so confused. This woman really has a soul-absorbing physique. It has only been a short time since Johnzi became his secretary. She is being targeted by a ghost. Why are you looking at me? Johnzi looked at Bai Yi with some caution. Could it be that she had not seen that kind of film, so she was going to try it on herself? And would the video be recorded later? Then she would be threatened by Bai Yi with this video in the future. She is still a little girl, and there are still infinite possibilities in the future. Why do I always feel that I am going to die now? Nothing, I just feel that your physique is really powerful. This videotape is Sadako's videotape. Anyone who sees the videotape will be killed by Sadako within 7 days. Bai Yi shrugged and saw what Johnzi was thinking. Compared with what Johnzi thought, Bai Yi did not want to chat with her. If it were before, he would definitely tease the little girl in front of him. But being targeted by Sadako now is not good news. You are a dog, the one who sent the disc. They actually use this kind of packaging to attract their attention. This is curiosity killing the cat. No way, am I so unlucky? Johnzi's face fell instantly. It has only been a short time since she was targeted by a ghost. Anyway, you and I watched this movie together, and you were also targeted. I don't care, but you may not. Sadako will attack you anytime and anywhere, and this ghost is definitely more powerful than the ghosts you have encountered before. It's not that you pretend not to see it, and the other party will not attack you. We have triggered her curse. The ghosts in this world seem to follow some rules when they kill people. For example, they can see the other party, or some media, such as Kayako's house and Sadako's videotape. When the media is not triggered, everyone can live safely without being targeted by ghosts. So, for your safety, you can move in with me recently. Don't worry, I will never touch you. Move over. Janzi widened his eyes and looked at Bai Yi in disbelief. Doesn't he know what he is saying? Of course, only in this way can I protect you. Besides, I am nicknamed the honest and reliable young man. I will definitely keep my word. This is even more untrustworthy. Just now, Janzi was forced to wear black silk and secretary clothes because she believed Bai Yi once. I always feel that if I live with Bai Yi, something very bad will happen. Boss, you have 2 rooms at home, right? Janzi's eyes were full of hope. If there are 2 rooms, it doesn't seem to be a big problem. Don't worry, there is only 1 room in my house. Listening to Bai Yi's annoying tone, although I really want to punch Bai Yi's smiling face. But Janzi didn't dare to offend his superiors. Will I really die? Really, I won't lie to you about this kind of thing. In addition, I will give you 2 more talismans for Junzi's matter. If you encounter any problems, call me immediately. Anyway, this ghost is very troublesome, you know. Bai Yi looked at Janzi very seriously. He has also realized the role of Janzi. At the same time, he didn't want Janzi to die like this, because he would have to rely on Janzi to attract ghosts here in the future. And Bai Yi had a hunch in his heart that after dealing with Junzi, he would definitely get a chance to draw a lottery. I know, boss, then you have to swear that you will never do anything out of line. I'll make 4. Bai Yi quickly stretched out his hand and said. Little girl, will anyone really believe a man's oath? Then go back and pack up first. Don't worry, the other party won't come to you today. 7 days will definitely die, but there is a high probability that these few days will be safe, so there is no need to worry. Oh, then can I come on the 7th day? The little girl is quite smart and has learned to draw inferences from one example. Since it is the 7th day, it is better for her to come on the 7th day. Of course, Bai Yi's smiling eyes made Janzi feel uncertain. After all, she didn't know if it was really time to kill her. If this ghost didn't work on time and came to kill her in advance, she would cry to death. With her head drooped, Janzi said goodbye to Bai Yi and prepared to go back to pack up and move in with Bai Yi for a while. In fact, she was a little hesitant in her heart. After all, it was her first time living with a man, although it was such a weird way, but Janzi really believed Bai's words. Because she had heard of Sadako's videotape. In the past, she sneered at this kind of urban legend, but since she could see ghosts, Janzi really believed it. However, she had only heard of Sadako's videotape, and this was the first time she saw it. It turned out that Sadako's videotape was like this. And there seemed to be some discrepancies between what others had said and what Bai said before. Shaking her head, Janzi finally decided to believe Bai. Perhaps the people who had encountered this urban legend had died long ago, and now it was just an exaggeration or fabrication by some people. Bai was more reliable. After all, the fact that he killed the ghost with his talisman was real and not fake. Daily Bai. I just watched Sadako's videotape and was very panicked. In theory, if Sadako is from an urban legend, it's fine, but if it's the Sadako from the Ring novel, then he's probably going to be in trouble. That's all about playing with concepts. It can be said that the Sadako in that novel is basically invincible. Naruto Byakuya. What the hell? So awesome. Monster Byakuya. Don't you have Conan over there? Who says 7 days is 7 days? In the science world, do you talk about time? Maybe Sadako won't come for several years. Zombie Byakuya. That makes sense, but it's also possible that she will appear immediately. After all, Conan's timeline can't be explained. Either she won't come, or she will come immediately. It seems possible. Daily Byakuya. I'm praying now that it's not the Sadako from the novel. In fact, he is not worried about when Sadako will come. The only thing he is worried about is where Sadako is from. Pirate White Knight. Actually, I have always had a question. If Sadako appeared from the TV, and the TV was turned off when Sadako was halfway out, would she be stuck inside the TV? Would she be able to do whatever she wants, just like in the hot-blooded anime? Is your focus a bit strange? You are actually starting to think about Sadako. But if you turn off the TV and get stuck there, it feels like something I have seen in anime. King of Fighters White Knight. Actually, there is another one. Since Sadako appeared in the TV, if you put 2 TVs together and turn on the power, will Sadako keep crawling? In the end, when she is exhausted and has no strength, can you take action? Biochemical White Knight. my suggestion is to put the screen against the wall. When Sadako crawls out, she will definitely hit a big bump. Hong Kong General White Knight, my suggestion is to find 3 people to set up a mahjong table. 3 people are missing 1. I believe Sadako can't refuse. Death God Bai Yi, find a cage, put the TV facing the cage door, wait for Sadako to crawl in, lock her up and study her carefully. Pirate Bai Yi, no, no, no. You are all too out of date. Buy Sadako an LV bag. I believe no woman can refuse this. Zombie Bai Yi, not reliable. Just marry Sadako and live happily. Daily Bai Yi, you are really talented. Really talented. Are you funny people sent by monkeys? Daily Bai Yi, forget it. Let's see when the time comes. At Death God Bai Yi, lend me your Zanpakuto when the time comes. Death God Bai Yi, okay. Zombie Bai Yi, I will lend you some things when the time comes. Let's not talk about it now. I will be in Renjia town soon. Let's talk later. Master, today we are killing chickens and buying some high-quality mutton and donkey meat. What are we going to do? In Yizhuang on the outskirts of Renjia town, Wen Kai placed the freshly killed big rooster in front of Uncle Ju. Uncle Ju felt strange to him today. Master, who has always been very stingy, actually bought so much good wine and food today out of mercy. Isn't this the last meal of the family? What nonsense are you talking about? Just prepare as you are told. Uncle Ju glanced sideways, and Wen Kai was startled by his majestic expression. Chu Sheng, who was on the side, stepped forward and put away the chopped donkey and mutton and the prepared desserts and said, "What the master said is what it is." Wen Kai, what nonsense are you talking about, master? When will we start eating? After coming to Yizhuang for so many years, he rarely eats such hard food. This era is like this. In troubled times, everyone's food is not good. Donkey and mutton are really not something ordinary people like them can eat. Today, Uncle Ju has prepared these for the first time. Although Chu Sheng doesn't know why, but now he just wants to finish 3 big bowls of rice quickly. We still have to wait for someone to come. Uncle Ju shook his head and said slowly. Is Uncle Four Eyes coming? But it seems that Master didn't prepare these things when Uncle Four Eyes came before, right? Wen Kai asked strangely, then quietly stretched out his hand to squeeze a piece of sweet-scented osmanthus cake, but Uncle Ju slapped it away. Then after seeing Uncle Ju's widened eyes, he shrank back, a sneer flashed across his face, but he didn't dare to continue. It's not Junior Brother Four Eyes. It's the head of the Shenxiao sect who is visiting Renjia town today. He also informed me some time ago. If he was from a sect, then Bai Yi actually didn't need to notify him. But this is the place where Maoshan is guarded. Bai Yi is the leader of the Shenxiao sect, and he came here to inform Uncle Ju. On the one hand, it was to avoid unnecessary misunderstandings, and on the other hand, after he informed him, he also needed Uncle Ju to take him around to look around. Famous sects also have so-called rules. Although Bai Yi doesn't like so many rules, he still does it well to avoid following the truth. Now he is also the leader of a sect after all. Shenxiao sect. What kind of sect is that? Chu Sheng asked curiously. He was actually interested because this was the first time he heard about this sect. Regarding Taoist matters, he only knew that his family belonged to Maoshan, but he didn't know anything else. The Shenxiao sect is a sect that evolved from the Tao of Heavenly Masters in the late Northern Song dynasty. It specializes in the 5 Thunder Talisman, which can control ghosts and gods, control thunderstorms, and eliminate disasters. It is also one of our famous and decent sects. Please be polite and don't be rude when you see me later. Angry. After a brief introduction, Uncle Ju gave the 2 of them a warning. He was very aware of the stubbornness of his 2 disciples. If they offended each other, they would suffer a lot later. Then Master, what other sects are there among these cultivation sects? Chu Sheng asked. Yes, Master, it seems you haven't told us this yet. Wen Kai also asked hurriedly when he saw this. Seeing the appearance of the 2 of them, Uncle Ju shook his head and explained helplessly, there used to be many sects in the Taoist sect, but in the Dharma-ending era, many sects have disappeared. The ones that still exist today are the Maoshan and Shenxiao sects, Quanjun sect, Longhushan Zhengyi sect, Tianxi Dao, etc., and then there is Buddhism, and then there are some evil cultivating sects and scattered cultivating evil cultivators, etc. In short, there are many besides our Maoshan. What little thoughts you have. Uncle Ju took this opportunity to suppress the tempers of the two of them. Literary talent is dull and honest, but his spiritual talent is very poor. Chu Sheng's spiritual talent is good, but he is too playful. By accepting these two disciples, I would be waste for 8 lifetimes. I always feel like my Taoist teachings can no longer be passed on. In addition, in this age of Dharma ending, cultivation is becoming more and more difficult. Master, don't worry, we know how to do it. Chu Sheng patted his chest and assured. Oh, I wish you could save me some trouble. Uncle Ju had no idea about the two of them at all. As long as they could make him worry-free, nothing else was a big problem. Let's talk about what happens next. Knock knock. Outside the yard, there was a knock on the door. Master, let me open the door. Upon seeing this, Wenkai stood up quickly, and Chu Sheng on the side quickly followed. Master, I'm going too. They are still very curious about the leader of the Shenxiao sect. Opening the door, a young and handsome man in Taoist robes was standing in front of the two of them, and beside him were a black and white iron-eating beast and a khaki pastoral dog. Are you Lin Fengjiao's disciples? Lin Fengjiao. Wenkai and Chu Sheng looked at each other, then shook their heads and said, sorry, you have the wrong person. With that said, they prepared to close the door. Ahem, he's my disciple. Uncle Ju coughed awkwardly behind him. Although he didn't want to mention the name, he now knew that he could not avoid it. Wenkai and Chu Sheng on the side turned their heads to look at Uncle Ju as if they had seen a ghost, and then the two of them looked at each other. Red, holding back laughter and not daring to speak out. What the hell? No wonder I never knew Master's name. It turns out that Master's name is Lin Fengjiao. No wonder, no wonder. If you do this, you probably won't be willing to mention your name. Fellow Taoist, are you the only one here? He glanced at the rhubarb at Bai Yi's feet, which was holding his Taoist robe and about to nibble. Well, there was also a silly dog and an iron-eating beast. When did the Shenxiao sect start raising such things? The Shenxiao sect has long since declined. This time, in addition to fulfilling the sect's duty to eliminate demons and protect the Tao, I also want to accept 1 or 2 disciples back to teach the inheritance. Bai Yi nodded. There was actually no need to hide this matter. The Shenxiao sect itself is indeed in decline. Except for himself as the leader and a missing senior sister, there is no one else. When Bai Yegu stayed on the mountain, it was partly because he was not strong enough, and partly because he wanted to preserve the last inheritance of the Shenxiao sect. Now that he is strong enough, he is willing to go down the mountain to find some disciples. Oh, I didn't expect that even the Shenxiao sect is already like this. Let's invite fellow Taoists inside and we'll talk about it slowly later. Uncle Ju gave up his position and let the guests talk outside the door. It was not the way to treat guests. Let's go, Dawang, Xiaohei. What a crude name. Chu Sheng and Wenkai looked at each other. Are they so careless? He became the leader at such a young age. Do you think he is really powerful? Wenkai behind him muttered. When I saw Bai Yi like this just now, he was younger than me, so he wasn't very impressive. I think so. Chu Sheng was a little sour. Being so handsome was a blow to Chu Sheng, who originally had little confidence in himself. Fellow Taoist, in these troubled times it is better to stay away less. Demons and ghosts are secondary, the main thing is the warlords. In the living room, Uncle Ju bought a cup of tea and then reminded Bai Yi. Perhaps because of Bai Yi's youth, he could actually feel that the Shenxiao sect was indeed in decline. It may even be true that Bai Yi is the only one, otherwise there would never be such a young leader. If he is a very powerful genius, then the news has already gone crazy in the Taoist sect, and it is impossible that he has not heard of it until now. Therefore, he also wanted to advise Bai Yi not to be impulsive, otherwise once he died, the inheritance of the Shenxiao sect might be cut off. This world is indeed too chaotic. Moreover, it has become increasingly difficult to practice since the dragon vein was severed. Nowadays, the world is still in chaos, and warlords are fighting in a melee. For monks, they can still deal with demons and ghosts, but if they are shot by the guns in the hands of warlords, they will die if they are shot. Times have changed. I know these are troubled times, but isn't it what we as Taoists must do to eliminate demons and defend the Tao? Bai Yi said slowly, probably because of the Ring of Merit. If Bai Yi wanted to quickly improve his strength, he only had to kill evil creatures to accumulate merit for himself. Fellow Taoist is righteous. Uncle Ju felt a little ashamed of this. Actually, it's pretty good to be able to protect one side's safety. Haven't there been no demons or monsters here these years, fellow Taoist? Bai Yi calculated that the efficiency of searching for monsters and monsters outside was too low. Like the world of Ke Shui, if you want to encounter a case, you only need to follow the god of death. In this zombie world, Uncle Ju is definitely a natural protagonist. The probability of encountering ghosts with him is much higher than if you go out by yourself. So after Bai Yi came down from the mountain, he actually came to see Uncle Ju, mainly because he wanted to figure out what the timeline here was like. If there is still a long time before the plot, then you can continue to wait and come back later. If it is about to start, then you have to get some merit for your own merit circle. Fellow Taoist, you're joking. This dish isn't ready yet. Let's eat and chat later. Uncle Ju smiled and didn't say much. His eyes signaled Wenkai and the two to go and prepare the food. After finally meeting someone from another sect, Uncle Ju was naturally a little interested. The two chatted about everything from practicing Taoism to the other side, and Bai Yi's outstanding knowledge surprised Uncle Ju. I originally thought that Bai Yi was just a passionate young man who also liked to support justice and eliminate evil. But during the chat with Bai Yi, I learned that Bai Yi knew more than me, and even knew a lot more about some Western things than me. This inevitably made Uncle Ju have a small thought in his heart. It happened that Master Ren invited him to a tea house tomorrow. He had never been there before. If Bai Yi went with him, maybe he wouldn't make a fool of himself. At the same time, Bai Yi was there. Together, he always felt more at ease. Before this, he always felt uneasy. Master, the food is ready, can you serve it all? Chu Sheng poked his head around and looked at the two people chatting happily inside, and couldn't help but murmur in his heart. The two seemed to have such a big age gap. Bai Yi might be younger than him, but he was still able to chat so happily with his master. He shook his head and didn't think much about it. Go ahead. Uncle Ju nodded with satisfaction. At least at this time, the two apprentices did not embarrass themselves. He is a very face-conscious person. Okay, master. After saying that, Chu Sheng ran to the kitchen in a flash, and then greeted Wenkai, preparing to serve all the dishes. Chu Sheng, help me. Wenkai, please be careful. If you are aborted, you will inevitably be punished by the master. Chu Sheng looked at Wenkai behind him, holding several plates, looking embarrassed, and said something gloating, and then ran away in a hurry. Hey, don't run. Looking at Chu Sheng's back, Wenkai shouted, but the next second he disappeared around the corner, and he could only curse Chu Sheng in his heart for his lack of loyalty. But thinking of what Chu Sheng said just now, and thinking of Uncle Ju's gloomy face, Wenkai couldn't help but shudder, and he also picked up the several bowls in his hands very neatly. After finally getting all these back safely, Wenkai breathed a sigh of relief and at the same time became angry when he saw Chu Sheng's gloating expression. There were 7 bowls of food in total, but Chu Sheng left with 2 bowls, while he came here alone with 5 bowls. Fellow Taoists are all just living on a simple diet, just making do with it. Uncle Ju didn't know if he liked eating these white nights. There are no food taboos in Taoism, so you can eat whatever you want. You can eat meat, but you don't eat birds, fish, cattle, wild geese, and dogs. The old cow is good, the mullet is filial, the wild goose is chaste, and the dog is loyal. This is the so-called 4 don'ts. Thank you for the hospitality, fellow Taoist. I will treat you tomorrow. In this era, anyone who can serve donkey, goat, and chicken to entertain guests is already considered very attentive. Well, I may need to go out tomorrow. By the way, fellow Taoist, would you like to go together? Uncle Ju was worried about how to ask Bai Yi if he wanted to go with him. Since Bai Yi said this, he asked along the lines of this sentence. Ah, aren't you taking me there? Wenkai turned his head and looked at Uncle Ju in confusion. He had promised to take him to drink Western tea. The clothes had been washed tomorrow, so why didn't he take him with him? Going out for a trip. Are you going to travel far, fellow Taoist? No, it was Mr. Ren from the town who asked my master to help lift the coffin and move it for burial. Wenkai answered directly, looking like a show-off. Kindness. Master didn't say anything, why did you interrupt? Uncle Ju glared at Wenkai, and he immediately did not dare to continue talking. However, the slightly raised corners of Uncle Ju's mouth obviously meant that Uncle Ju was actually quite happy in his heart. After all, it's good to save face. He is just like this, he just doesn't want to admit it. In this case, they only invited fellow Taoists and I went with them. Isn't it a little bad? Bai Yi's eyes lit up, the plot had just happened to catch up. It seems that I came at the right time. After solving the zombie of Mr. Ren, I don't know how much merit I can accumulate for myself. There should even be a chance to draw a lottery, right? No trouble, if fellow Taoist is interested, how about we go there together tomorrow? Good. Bai Yi nodded and didn't refuse any more. Uncle Ju had already invited him in this way, and his refusal was obviously disrespectful to the other party. On the other side, Wenkai's anxious eyes were on his face. He is anxious to death now. Is there no one speaking up for him? I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.